Hey, everybody. Welcome to Holding Priority Podcast, the Magic the Gathering CDH podcast. I'm Cardboard Cryptid.
And I'm the gaming ghost.
On today's episode, we're going to go over the Foundations set that just came out. The set's kind of strange. It's a set that'll be legal for 5 years in standard. We don't care about that. We just like when we get new cards for Commander.
There's some interesting things in there too. We'll get into that in here in a second. But
Cool, cool. And there's also the thing that's kind of weird about it is there's the normal set, and then on top of it, there's the Foundation Jumpstart that a lot of the more interesting commander cards, I think, are in. So just if you went to a pre-release, maybe last Friday, like we did, which is our yesterday, uh, and you want to pull certain cards for your decks, and you get sad that you didn't get them. If it has two cards in the set icon, you can't get them from the pre-release. So just if that's why you're going to the pre-release, which on Monday it's already happened, so I don't know why I'm telling you, but yeah, it's kind of confusing to pull them, but we'll try our best to kind of go over that.
I hope y'all have as much fun at the pre-release as I did. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Before we get into the actual cards, though, let's go into the shuffle up. So at this point, we've been to MagicCon. I wanted to get the shuffle or the um, foundations. I don't know why I was going to call it shuffle. I want to get the foundations set out just because it's the most relevant right now. Like I'm sure everybody's kind of like, okay, well, like new set card review. I want a podcast
Yeah,
before you guys hear about how great of a time we had in Magic Con.
yeah. What's good in the
um,
set? Yeah,
yeah, so that's going to come next. We are going to talk about foundations today and try to save all the juicy MagicCon details for the next podcast. Going to be a really good podcast. Like this is it's always a good podcast,
always
but that one's going to be really good, as is this one.
the best. You should listen.
So for the shuffle up, new comments uh, we had on YouTube. Alex Fabian 2974. Wow, great content with clapping. Thank you. Thank you for the comment. Always appreciated.
Always. Thanks for the comment.
And then also, we wanted to plug the link tree. It is in the description of the episode, whether it be on YouTube or podcast. If you want to get more content, get in contact with us, find our socials, find our YouTube. If you're not listening on YouTube, it's all there. And then on top of that, we do have a TCG player link that if you're listening this episode and you're like, I want to buy a foundation card, like, thank you for setting me in the correct direction. Please click our link tree, click our TCG affiliate link. It'll also be in the comments on YouTube. It helps a ton. It doesn't cost you anything extra. It just lets TCG player know that you were listening to this podcast, you liked it, you wanted to buy stuff from TCG player. Sends you over there. Nothing extra for you, but it is a great way to support the channel if you don't want to do any like donations or anything like that. Always comments, likes, subscriptions. That's the best way to support the channel. Also, completely free. But if you're like, I want to do something, I'm going to spend money anyway, I'd at least like, my friends over at Holding Priority to get a little cut of it. Like,
Yeah,
thank you.
the
Yeah.
coolest. The coolest. No, just joking.
We a lot of people have been using it. If you already used it, thank you so much. It's really cool to see that support. Also, if you're just like, I don't want to buy any cards. I want to do something for these guys. That's more than you know, um, subscribing, commenting. We've had people just say like, oh, like thanks for the tip on Polywog Prodigy. Like, can I buy you a pack or like something like that? With Ko-fi, you can do that. If you want to spend $4 for a pack, $35 for a collector's booster, like more than welcome. I promise you, we have a really nice game shop lady that's like right down the street. the moment we get it, it pretty much just goes to her. So you're supporting a small small card shop.
Yeah,
So you know,
and a little dog.
yeah. Oh, Toby, I love Toby.
Yeah, we
We
have to
should
show her.
interview Toby when we should have him on the podcast.
As long as we give him an empty box he can chew, I
Yeah,
think it'd be okay.
and we can put the mic right there. They can hear that. Yeah. And then I promise I'm going to get done with self promotion soon. Just please comment, like, subscribe, and set the podcast to auto download. It helps a ton. Whenever we put out an episode, definitely see that the day it comes out, everybody's just like eating it up. Thank you so much. It's really cool to see that we've been listened to in all kinds of other countries. We had a friend from Korea that listens to the podcast that we did a pre-release with them yesterday. So our Friday,
Yeah,
yeah, it was cool.
I'm a little upset with you, man. You
Yeah.
beat me. No,
Uh,
it's okay.
yeah. Spoiler: he got first. He got first place.
I ended up with third, but
Yeah.
that's okay.
He tied for first place. So technically you got second, but
Yeah.
because there were two ties, you got third. All right. Well, enough of our pre-release. We'll probably talk about it more because it's relevant to the foundations. But let's get into the cards. So these will be by set code. Set code is always in the bottom left of the screen. This one is one, so it's clearly first. The order is going to be a little bit weird. So anything with the star, not the star with triangles around the star, those are a different set code. But the star is going to be foundations. Anything with two little kind of cards that are sweeping, that is going to be the jumpstart. So we'll do all the foundations. I don't believe we put any special guests because they're all reprints. They're really cool reprints. We did pull them in the pre-release, so they are in the play booster packs. I pulled a Grim Tutor, so like
I pulled a mana. Is it mana foil? Mana foil Phyrexian Arena.
yeah. And then you also got the Fiend Artisan too that you used in the pre-release, which was I mean really cool. Like I had the option of using a Grim Tutor in a pre-release
Yeah.
draft. Like I had a lot of fun doing I believe it's sealed whenever you get all the packs, and the draft is when you pass them around.
Yeah.
We've been doing a little bit more of that lately. Just after MagicCon, I think Commander for me, I was like, I need a teeny tiny break.
Yeah, we played a lot of
Yeah,
Commander.
it was fun. We'll talk about that on the next episode, though. A lot of fun. So this one, Sire of the Seven Deaths. It costs 7, has 7 keywords, and it's a 7/7. Is a creature in Eldrazi. The keywords are first strike, vigilance, menace, trample, reach, lifelink, ward, pay 7 life. Somebody got this out on me in the pre-release, and immediately the game was over.
Yeah, that's a big boy right there.
Yeah.
Or
Um,
Eldrazi, whatever it is.
yeah. It's a big thing. uh, yeah. So CDH wise, usually whenever I'm looking at a creature that's a big cost, I want to see that I summon it and the game is over. Even if this had haste on it, it's still just a 7/7 vigilance, menace, trample, reach, lifelink. It's cool.
So
It's really cool.
I didn't know this, but I heard somebody talking about it in the pre-release, which I probably should have realized. But once this is summoned, like in pre-releases, you only have 20 health.
Mhm.
So if you try to kill this thing,
Yeah.
you automatically lose 7.
Yeah.
If you have less than 7, the thing is just going to beat you to death.
Yeah.
Like-
Which that's what happened to me. Like I was playing no removal outside of red removal, and I was like, I'm not going to do 7 damage to this with like a.
Yeah, and then if you didn't, if you had, well, most of the removal for the pre-release is like -2, -2. So you're probably using 2 to 3 spells to hit it, and I mean you're gonna kill yourself.
So would you see this in Kinnan?
No,
Yeah, it's no
no.
void winnower.
Void Winnower is kind of like a stacks piece too,
Yeah.
whereas this is just it's cool. It has a place in some of the other formats, but I don't see it being any win.
Cool.
Definitely not a force of will.
Yeah, yeah. And that reminded me that I need to kind of go over the grading scale.
Yeah.
So we have a grading scale. It's 1 through 5. 5 is this is going to be a staple. 4 is this will be a staple in certain decks. 3 is this might see play. 2 is put it aside. It's useful. I just don't know how. And 1 is I just think it's cool. Yeah, if it made it on this, I just think it's cool is not a bad score. It just means in the CDH tournament landscape, it probably won't see play.
I
So
mean,
what would you rate this?
I'm thinking either a 1 or a 3.
It's a 1. Yeah.
Like, I mean, you could see some Eldrazi. I still think that there's gonna be an Eldrazi, deck at some point. I
Well,
just don't
there is
know.
the Cascade one, the colorless. Colorless is tough. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
but, I mean, it's no Ulamog, it's no Kozilek. Like, if you're gonna spend that much,
Yeah.
you're gonna want
Yeah.
one of those. So, yeah, I think 1 is probably where it's at more than that.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like I said, on a big creature, I want to see an immediate effect. I want to see for 7, I summon this and I exile the top card of everybody's deck, and I get to play it for free. Um,
Or take my turn.
yeah, or take your turn. Like
Hate that card.
when I cast it, I take your turn.
It's too
This and Atali costs the same, and it's no Atali, so it is colorless, so it can go in anything. But it's just it's a card that you put 7 into, and then you pass. So like,
yeah. Cool card, though.
yeah. Uh, oh, you picked this one, I think, just to hear me pronounce it. Arhabo, the First Fang,
I think he did good.
legendary creature, cat avatar. Other cats you control get +1/+1. Whenever Arhabo or another non-token cat you control enters, create a 1/1 white cat creature token. It's a 2/2.
I liked it just because it's a cat, and they have been getting a lot more support for, like, um, a typal deck,
Yeah,
but I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it would be a top-rated card, but I do think it's kind of interesting.
yeah. Whenever I saw this one, I was just like, I like it because it's a cat and it makes tokens.
Yeah,
But it's
immediately.
also another non-token cat. So you have to have a cat tribal deck, which in CDH, unfortunately, there is no cat tribal deck. I would love to play a cat tribal deck in CDH.
Well, I mean, I don't know. There's some cat warriors and things.
I think the closest that we have to cat tribal is Jetmir. Naya. I think he's a cat demon. I mean, he looks like a cat.
Hmm,
Must be a cat.
has to be.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this would be good in a casual, high power casual Jetmir deck. My complaint with it, other than the fact it has to be another non-token cat that enters, is it's a 2/2 for 3. And usually with like pure white creatures, you're at least looking for kind of like a bear where for 3 you get a 3/3.
Well, yeah, but you're not when it comes out, it puts out a 1/1 that immediately
Oh, that's
becomes a
fair.
2/2. So
Okay,
so
that's pretty
initially
good.
it's
Yeah.
3 for 5.
Yeah,
No,
it's
3
three
for
three for
4.
4. Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, I see it. I see
So
it.
yeah, that's also in the pre-release, this thing was a kind of a pain in my side because it just
Winota card.
yeah,
No,
maybe.
no.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's too much for a Winota card. Winota does like extra bodies like push through, but I'm surprisingly I thought Winota was gonna get a lot bigger with the changes with CDH. And it's really just people that wanted to play it have moved to Yuriko or Kennen, which in my opinion are better decks right now.
I mean, Boros is just hard in general.
Good Winota players are like so tough to deal with. like,
That's true.
really, the only way that you can deal with them is just go point at them and go. can everybody agree that they're the biggest problem right now? Like that's how you counter Winota is like he's not letting us or she's not letting us play the game. Like, can we all agree?
Hmm. I would say for this one, just kind of set it aside. I don't,
um,
I don't think that it's a one just because of the cat. I don't know. I like something that drops out of body too, and then it has potential for others.
I'm gonna say it's a 5. Force of will. No, I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
jeez.
No,
I was like,
no,
I don't, I
no.
don't know about that one.
To me, it's a 1. The I wish it just dropped a cat. So, like, I wish it would take the other cats you control, get +1/+1, and just whenever you summon a non-token creature, make a 1/1 cat token.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Yeah, like that would be almost CDH level. Uh, I just because this specifically wants to care about cats so much, I can't give it more than a 1 for a CDH review.
I'm fine with that too. I could see the one. I do think that this is something that I would keep in your mind though, just a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, anything that's low to the ground as far as like mana cost that puts out another body. I mean, especially when, like you pointed out, it's two twos, and then immediately, if for some reason you have a bunch of cats in your deck, immediately it's bigger. Which the Ocelot Pride Mate is another. Like I could see me putting this in my Balin list
Mm.
because Ocelot Pride Mate and Ajani were such like big things, and Ajani cares about if cats die, I believe.
I I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. Celestial Armor, 2 colorless and a white artifact equipment. It's a rare. Has flash. You may cast this spell anytime you could cast an instant. So an equipment with flash is already pretty cool. When this equipment enters, attach it to target creature you control. That creature gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Equip creature gets +2/+0 and has flying. Equip 3 and a white. So whenever I see an equipment that immediately attaches to a creature, I'm always just like, okay, like you have my attention. Yeah. And especially when that equipment has flash, and especially when that equipment gives something hexproof and indestructible, and then on top of it, it gives it +2 attack and has flying. Like pretty good.
In the pre-release, this was kind of a menace, but in Commander, I think that you're going to go mainly for the hexproof or the indestructible aspect of this card.
Hmm.
The flying is just a nice to have,
Yeah.
but uh, I think that if this was a 2, you would see it a lot. Like if it was a
Oh
2
yeah.
cost. Being a
Uh
3, it's a little bit harder to throw out there.
yeah, I mean in CDH when you pass with 3 mana up, like clearly you're either so far behind that you're out of the game or like you've got plans, which like it's not bad for people to be like, well, I want to destroy his creature, but he has mana open or she has mana open. Like, what am I gonna do? Um, so like it you really telegraph that you've got a trick up your sleeve if you're holding 3 open. And then whenever I see 3 open, especially if there's black or white, I'm immediately assuming it's op agent or Aven mind sensor,
Yeah.
which is a way better play than just protecting my creature. The fact that it gives a buff and flying is pretty good. Like imagine somebody trying to remove Timna, and then you're like, I celestial armor Timna. She's a 4/2 with flying.
Yeah, that'd be
like
silly.
that's pretty good.
I was thinking Timna as well.
Yeah, the only thing that is bad is the initial equip for free is great, but then it costs 4 and a color mana on top of that. So that's pretty tough to that's pretty tough. I would say I don't even know if I could say 3. Um I think I'd give this one a 2. Like I want to like it, but when like Legolas's quick reflexes exists, and again, like that's in green, it's not white. But there's so many good white protection spells that do something similar for one. It's kind of hard to justify saving your own creature for three just to give it +2 in flying.
Well, even in CEDH, white isn't a main color anyway. Like you don't have that many mono white decks.
Yeah, I mean, really the only ones that it's Oswald, Fiddlebender, and then I always forget the enchantment god, Helios Ballista, which like
I mean, is gimmicky.
Helios. Well, Helios is not even a creature most of the game, if it ever gets transformed into a creature. So like Helios, you wouldn't use this in. I know people used to do like Ao the Dawn Star, the dragon, but that one, I think you wanted that one to die. So um
I would say a 2 or a 1 at highest.
yeah. I could see somebody justifying this and putting it in their deck, like maybe Captain America, which I mean I don't think Jeskai is a great Jeskai equipment doesn't seem like a great CDH deck. I know a lot of people have been talking about like we know 2 to 3 people in our group that want to build Captain America CDH, and this seems pretty good for Captain America CDH, but like I even think that is kind of a fringe dream deck, you know?
I would love to see like a Voltron type thing happen, but I don't think. I mean, it's really hard. But would you consider Godo Voltron-ish? I mean,
I mean to
it's,
an extent.
it's close,
Yeah, it's
and
the closest we have.
that's the closest one that's consistent that I can think of.
So like whenever I talk to people about Voltron, I always talk about how Light Pause is like cracked. Like
Oh
Light
yeah,
Pause is like whenever an aura enters, just go get whatever aura you want that's equal or lesser mana
and
value and
just
just
plop it on.
plop it on. You know, like that's ridiculous. Like, and if you heard of a commander that's like, yeah, whenever you cast a certain type of card, you just go get whatever one in your deck and just put it straight to field for free. Like that sounds stupid, and it is stupid. And light pause is bad. Like you don't ever see light pause in a CDH tournament.
It's just too easy to remove some of these things. Now this does give hex proof, but
Yeah.
I mean it's only for a turn, I think.
Yeah,
So
whenever you put up a threat that's like this threat is going to kill everybody one by one, there's three people that are going to try to remove it, and there's just really no amount of protection spells that you'll have the mana for to keep it safe through three people trying to with multiple cards trying to remove it.
and if it's mono white, there's just no way.
And the other problem with this is like, okay, I really want to keep my creature safe. I have it in my hand. I have the mana open. Then someone goes, "Well, I'm just going to toxic deluge." It's like, "Well, I'll give it indestructible and hexproof." Oh, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It
it doesn't do
doesn't
anything.
care. Yeah, yeah. I would say a two. I could see somebody justifying it. I don't think it's just a this is neat. Like I could see it in lists potentially. I just don't think it's. I just don't think it's a staple.
Yeah, I'm with a 2. I think 2 is where it's at mainly.
Yeah. Heir apparent. So this is one generic, a white creature rabbit noble. When this creature enters, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to the number of other creatures you control named heir apparent. A deck can have any number of cards named heir apparent. It's a 2/2. It's common. It's a rabbit noble.
It's a rabbit, force of will this card now.
Five.
Now,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
just
No. I really like it. Any card that says you can have any number of cards named this, I think is really fun for Commander. When you have a card that you can just load your deck with, I am going to try to build this in Balin. I don't think it'll work, but Heir Apparent and oh man, I'm forgetting the artifact that whenever you cast a creature, when you cast a permanent, you can return a permanent. It like lets you bounce stuff like crazy. Cloudstone Curio. Cloudstone Curio in this with Balin, you only need 4 to be able to bounce it.
Mm.
When you have 5 out, you could just go infinite, infinite mana, infinite card draw. Uh, I think that there is a deck with Balin where Heir Apparent plus Cloudstone Curio, or just a lot of Heir Apparents where you just can draw into them and keep playing them over and over again. Um, and then there's also Thrumming Stone that is kind of cool.
I think that I would even call this like a semi win con
Yeah,
too. Like if you were to really look at it as it comes out, like I mean, you could easily get 5 little rabbits, you know,
the
on
yeah
cast.
the other thing is, like, let's say you have Perforos or anything that's, and like spoilers, there's another card that whenever a creature enters, you deal damage. You can just start beating down the table pretty quickly with this card. Not even talking about the attack. And then if you're in Boros, which you're probably going to be in Boros if you're running this, there is that new doll from Duskmorn that whenever it attacks, you deal damage to, or each opponent loses life equal to the amount of creatures to and under that is on your side of the field.
Is that the little like porcelain
Yeah, the
looking
little
doll?
porcelain doll.
I like that one.
Yeah, I think it has legs. Excuse the pun, but like,
Oh, this yeah.
yeah. I think it's pretty good. I do think that, no spoiler alert. I'm gonna give it a 4 because I think that you could build a heir apparent Balin deck that is pretty scary. Like I was playing Balin and it just wasn't there yet. And the fact that you could potentially do a rabbit tribal token deck with Balin and it be really good seems pretty great. Yeah.
I think what's funniest about this is that it's a common.
Yeah. I
Like
got 5 of and, like, I was definitely asking people that if, like, when the draft was over, I'd be like, "Did you get one? Can I have it?" But I think I got 6 in the pre-release.
I think I pulled 2 or 3.
Oh,
So,
really? Well,
yeah.
you only gave me 1, so no, I'm
Oh,
just
well,
kidding.
I think I gave you 2.
I think you handed me and I just saw 1 and I just assumed you only got 1 and I was like, "Thanks."
I yeah, there's something if you're opening packs to kinda set that thing to the side
Yeah.
because I think that's pretty good common.
I mean, I also feel like any cards that have a deck can have any number of cards. Those cards usually go up to like $1 each,
Yeah.
so it's not a bad card to set aside if you're opening a lot of packs, just to be like potentially one of my friends. Odds are one of your friends are going to want all of these because people are going to try them out. Just put them aside and be like, hey, play group. I don't have any interest for these. I'm selling them for like 50 cents a piece. Who wants to give me $10?
Mm.
Like,
I know that there's rats that do the same.
yeah.
Isn't there like a human or is it a apostle or something? I don't remember.
So I believe every color now has uh any number of cards because you've got rats in black, you've got the Shadowborn Apostle,
It's
I think,
Shadowborn, that's right. Well,
that
that's
you
black
with
too, huh?
6 of them you sack them, you get a demon. Blue has, I think, patient practitioners or something like that, which you don't really see that. Red has Dragon's Approach. Green has Slimes Against Humanity now, and I
Hmm,
believe this is the first one for white.
that's funny, Slimes Against Humanity.
Yeah, or Slime Against Humanity or something like that.
I like it. I could go with you on 4. I think it's good.
I think 4 is very generous. I think this is a lot of kind of, I just want it to be a thing because I put Balin away and I would really like to get Balin back. I am probably overestimating the card. I will 100% say that.
I mean
However, today I'm giving it a 4.
I mean, you have a raise foil,
Yeah, yeah.
Balin, and I think that also is in your mind as well.
Yeah, and I will, like, I kind of did the math on it, and like with Cloudstone, you have to have 5 heir apparents out to go infinite with Balin. So you're saying Cloudstone, 5 heir apparents, and then also Balin. So that's 7 cards for a combo. But also, like, what are people gonna do? Are they gonna counter your heir apparent? Are they gonna, like, really the only thing that people can do is once you put them out, they're kind of just out. And unless somebody wants to go tutor up a toxic deluge, you're kind of set. Like,
I
and then the person that goes and tutors Toxic Deluge, like they're putting themselves way
Yeah,
behind.
2 cards.
Yeah, yeah. A tutor nonetheless. And yeah.
So my question would be before, and not to spoil any other cards that are coming up in the line, but I know that we were going over this and we noticed that in white there's also a return.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that in this list too?
Yeah.
List?
I don't know if it's coming up. I think it might have been Jumpstart. It might be coming up next, but it's a sorcery that returns all 2 cost and lower. Um
So deluge them if you want,
yeah, deluge them all, and then I'll use a sorcery, bring them all back.
and then meet each
They
other at
all
once.
they all hit the field, and then all 10 triggers go on the stack. And then I put out 100 bunnies because they all see each other. Like,
And then what are you gonna counter that spell? Like
yeah,
do whatever you want.
like 4 mana to get 110 bunnies on the field.
So crazy.
Yeah. Like there's we've also gotten a lot more whenever this creature, basically like impact tremor effects. That's like when this creature enters the battlefield, deal damage. We're getting another one in this set. We had the um lizard that you could pay more to make a token of it too. You have Perforos. Like you have 4 great options in red that whenever a creature enters the battlefield, everybody takes damage.
Well,
So
this is also in the color of aristocrat. So there's a lot
yeah.
of if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of I don't think they're vampires, but they like if a creature enters, you gain 1 life and they lose 1 life. I
I mean,
don't
also like think about this with Jetmir. Like stupid. Like,
I I think that they could have stopped this card at you could have any number of them, but the fact that it's like now you get to plop out a little rabbit token is
yeah.
just silly.
Yeah. And the fact that what I'm most excited about, I mean, I just saw this card yesterday. What I wanted to do this time was normally we like research the cards quite a bit. I mean, because we have a podcast, but this one I knew we were doing the podcast after our pre-release, and I was like, I don't. For the most part, if I happen to see cards, whatever, but I'm not going to go looking for them. I saw this one for the first time right before the pre-release, and I was like, this is awesome. I can make a rabbit tribal deck that potentially could go to a CDH tournament. Not win. I never said win, but like it could hold its own.
It would have people scratching their heads.
Yeah. Like what do I do? This guy's just overrunning us with rabbits of all things. Yeah.
I'm
Four.
solid 4.
Four.
Yeah.
Cool. Herald of the Eternal Dawn. It's a 7 cost creature, 4 colorless, white, 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 creature angel, mythic. Flash, you can cast a spell at any time you can cast an instant. Flying, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. It's a 6/6. Um, I like this card. It's no Angel's Grace, where Angel's Grace is 1 with split second. So Angel's Grace like always resolves because it has split second. Someone could potentially force of will this. And then you'd be out 7 mana in a 6/6 creature, which like if they're trying to win, they're definitely gonna force a will it, you know?
Or a mana drain.
Yeah, or
This
a
is a
mana
good
drain.
mana drain
Yeah.
card.
Or Strix it, you know. We've been seeing a lot
Yes.
more Strixes.
Strix would be crazy.
I like it. I want to like it more than I do. Um, I am looking for kind of like a big bomb creature in Timna Kodama. Herald of the Eternal Dawn seems pretty good, but like, I mean, if I'm keeping 7 mana up just to drop a creature to where somebody can't win, like imagine the things I could do with 7 mana. You know?
7 mana should be able to win
Yeah,
you the
yeah.
game.
And also too, like, let's say somebody's like walking ballista combo, and you're like, haha, Herald of the Eternal Dawn. They're like, cool. So my first 6 pings are gonna go at Herald.
Now you're
Oh,
dead.
oh, okay. That effect's gone. Sweet. I'll continue. You know?
Yeah. I
uh
I'm not big on this one. I know you almost like a pet card here. I think that it
Yeah.
has potential. I just I don't see it being viable in CEDH. I think that those effects are good.
Yeah, and I also will say so. Like we're 35 minutes into the podcast. We did look at and talk about the cards before we started the podcast. That was probably 40 minutes ago, and 40 minutes ago I was like, this is gonna replace my big creature in Timna Kodama. And now that I've had 35 minutes to think about it, no, it's not good. Yeah,
S- So he didn't name drop the card. It was Vorinclex he was wanting to drop out. Like I get that
yeah.
Vorinclex is big and that it's a little clunky, but I feel like Vorinclex holds more weight than this does.
Vorinclex. The problem with Vorinclex is I put him out, and I usually don't have extra mana after I put him out. Like I don't have any actual lands, so I don't get to double my like lands.
Mm.
And then like I put him out, and everybody's just like, okay, well, whatever I need to do to tap my lands, let me do it now. Let me Thrasios now, like while he's on the stack. And then you have the moment he exists, you kind of don't want to remove him because you don't want to unlock anybody else and have your mana tapped. But also, like, it makes everybody play a little bit. They play with their artifact mana a lot more, which, like, if I have Oof out, great, you know.
Yeah,
But
but that's more of a
yeah, yeah.
mind game there. I don't think that this is very I don't want to say psychological, but it's not as substantial.
The problem the reason that I run Vorinclex is if I go infinite green, I can just drop them, and I can't just drop Herald of the Eternal Dawn. So I think that's one of the problems. But also, like, anytime anybody wins, how often does somebody have a swords in hand if they're trying to win, or there's so many win cons where it's like infinite damage. Like I guess it stops Sisay, but then it's a 1v1 against Sisay, and then it's like, okay, well, I have infinite mana. I'm just gonna put every legendary creature out and pass. Figure it out. Like, which, like, you could go negative health, and it pretty much just becomes, okay, well, and then, like, even Sisay has options because you're just like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Let me go get Urtai. Like,
Yeah, it's a hurdle, but it's not as big of a hurdle as Vorinclex is to me. I think
yeah,
stumping mana is a lot harder than a win con because when you get to that win con, I could just wait.
yeah. I think the only thing that stops is Thassa Oracle, and then at the same time, Angel's Grace is way better. So I'm gonna, with a heavy heart, it's a one in CDH.
I'm with the one.
Ugh, it hurts. It hurts. I want to give it more. It's so cool. Like,
It's a cool card, but there's other cards that do the same and they don't get play either.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's the ultimate problem with it. Is
yeah.
one of them is an artifact. It's an artifact, right? Like
We'll
I
talk
believe
about that one.
I
Yeah,
believe so.
yeah. There's a kind of a cheeky combo that I showed Ghost right before this.
Well, there's two because I'd never seen the one you showed me, but there
Yeah.
was the other one,
Oh, Platinum Angel. Yeah,
platinum. No, that's a creature too, huh?
yeah. Platinum Angel is a creature. It's I believe it's a seven cost artifact angel, colorless, so any deck can run it. You
Yeah.
know. So I could infinite green drop that, and I never did. So, like, it doesn't have flash though.
Yeah, I get you, but really, does this have flash?
Yeah, if you have seven open mana and three white, yeah. No,
Are
it's
you
it's
gonna you
it's a
gonna
one. I've already admitted it's a one. It hurts me, but
Yeah, I'm with a one too.
yeah,
It's an interesting card though.
cool. So this is what we were talking about earlier.
Oh,
Raise the past. Two generic white sorcery. Return all creature cards with mana two or less from your graveyard to the battlefield.
I think that this is pretty close to the Force of Will card. Like I really like it. I think that if it was a three, I would three instant. I don't think I would even.
I have my Force of Will card in mind. I don't think there's as not to kind of diminish the review, but I don't think there's any like my god card. Like, this is a core set and it feels like a core set, everything is base level pretty good, but there's nothing that's like this changes the game. Um, so if you wanted to force of will this as yours, I would not. I would. I would not fault you. you
Well, one of the big problems I have in Sisay is that I lose my mana dorks.
Mhm.
Now, if this was three, like three or less, this would be I think it would be in just about every Sisay deck. However,
I mean,
and that's a bold statement.
imagine this with Tyvar on the field.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
like I really like it. I don't think I'm gonna force it because I kind of have an idea of what I want to force of will. And I may get to what I'm thinking and be like, nah, I think it was this card. So I'm gonna definitely remember it as we go. But I think this is a really solid card, man. Like the fact that the sorcery is the biggest problem, and then the mana value is a big problem.
mhm.
But with the hairs, this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, also like there's a lot of Hulk decks that it's 3 creatures that cost 2, and they're usually in black, white, and green. And let's say somebody mills me out, or just it's nice to have an option of like, oh, I can just bring them all back. And a lot of those like combos, at least one of the cards exists in the graveyard, like crawler, where you're just and like that one you can cast if you have a zombie. But um there's a lot of Hulk combos that are 3 2 crossed creatures, and they just win the game. There's also, and we're talking like 4 colors here, but white, red, green, blue, where it's Goro Goro, um, Hermit Druid, and Thassa's Oracle. All of those in the graveyard. Like you could potentially you'd have all of those in the graveyard, have Raise the Past, Red with Goro Goro to bring everything. Like this could be a pretty good Kenrith card where it's like Goro Goro. If you have 6 mana and all of those are in your graveyard, you just win the game
I like it.
because you pay red with Goro Goro, give everything haste, and also like you get all of your mana dorks back, so you can figure it out like there. And then it's green for Hermit Druid with Thassa's Oracle ETP on the stack. You just win.
I do like it a lot. I think that probably a four. I don't think every deck will use it.
Yeah, because 5. I wish I had the sheet in front of me. 5 is because of the color. Every deck that's white will have this in it. I don't think so. 4 is a certain deck will definitely have this in it, and then 3 is like it could see play. Um, I think it's ugh,
I'm thinking a four.
yeah. I think I don't think it's an auto include in Kenrith. I don't think it's an auto include in anything. Like Hulk lines kind of want it. I'd say 4. I could agree with 4.
I think that it's a win con.
If I could give
And
it a 3.5, I would, but I,
yeah,
I don't I don't want to open a 5 rating system to really be a 10 rating system, you know.
no. I think that it rounds up either way. I think a
Yeah.
four is solid.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4. Cool. High Fey Trickster, 3 colorless blue creature fairy wizard. It's a rare. Has flash. It has flying. It says you can cast spells as though they had flash. It's a 4/2. Valley Flood Collar has been pretty big. Valley Flood Collar is a 3 cost, and a 3 cost and a 2 cost are very different. Valley Flood Collar, I also believe it's a 2/3, so it has a bigger butt. It's a little bit harder to remove once it hits the field. I just wanted to bring this one up because if you've looked at Valley Flood Collar and been like, oh well, really, what I want to do is cast creature spells, and this doesn't let me, so like this doesn't work for my deck. It also doesn't have the like all birds untap, which a lot of people use that with Birds of Paradise to go infinite.
Mm.
Um, if you were purely playing Valley Flood Collar, for the flash aspect, and you were like, I really wish I had something that I could cast my creatures that flash to. Because a lot of what I want to flash in when I'm playing is like a hermit druid on somebody's end step so it can tap right away.
Mm.
Same thing with Sisay, where like you're not going to run Valley Flood Color because you just want to put your mana dorks in. Now, what would that be? 6 to get a Bloom Tender in on somebody's end step? That's a lot. Yeah, if you have 6 mana, you probably should be able to spin Sisay at that point anyway.
I think that I think that you're right. I think that it's nice to know that it's there
Mhm.
or it's an option. I don't know if it would go into a deck right away.
Yeah. I will say, Alvar the All Form kind of opened my eyes as somewhat of a fairy tribal after MagicCon. So I think that like the extra one in instead of like Valley Flood Color for the fairy and everything having flash is pretty good in that deck. As hyped as people were, justifiably for Valley Flood Color, I can't skip this card, even though it's kind of not really boring. I don't have a lot to say about it. I would rate it a 3. I could see somebody being like, I'm willing to pay that one extra so that I can flash out creatures. I do think all of the R form is looking at this and is just like, heck yeah. But like, how many of those decks do you see? Not many. They're kind of one trick ponies. Like we played at MagicCon and exiled somebody's Ristic study, and they were just like, I'm just out of the game. Like
Mm.
I can't even play anymore. So
I
um,
I think it's either a 2 or a 3, and I could bump up to a 3 if you
yeah.
think that's better, but I really don't think that.
If I had to give it a score in a vacuum, I'd say 2, but how much play Valley Flood Caller has seen and this better for one more mana puts it up to a 3 for me. Um it's I didn't understand why Valley Flood Caller was such a big deal. Even like seeing people play it, like I get it. Um I thought it was overhyped. And I still think it's overhyped to an extent, but I give this a 3.
I'm with a 3.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Uh, Kaito, Cunning Infiltrator, one generic blue blue. When a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Kaito. Clearly, he's a legendary planeswalker. His +1 is up to one target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Draw a card, then discard a card. -2 is create a 2/1 blue ninja creature token. -9 is you get an emblem with whenever your player casts a spell, create a 2/1 blue ninja creature token. It starts out with 3 loyalty counters.
When I seen this, I thought, Yuriko, like, off 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 the whip here.
The fact that I think the like your code triggers off anything, um, not just itself. So like you would definitely prefer to get through with Yuriko, but the fact that Yuriko runs a lot of unblockable things anyway. I don't know if 3 for that effect is good, but you also draw a card and discard a card, so you kind of loop through your deck. I
Mhm.
know that Yuriko does a lot of top deck manipulation, and for the most part, you draw with your triggers. So you're the draw a card, discard a card is actually like somewhat of a negative, you know.
Mm.
But you can do it in main one, make something unblockable, draw a card, discard a card, and then do your top tutor. So like you can play it in a way that it's not as big of a problem. The payoff of -9 whenever you get a player cast whenever a player casts a spell, you create a 2/1 blue ninja creature token is pretty good cuz how do you win the game? You have to cast spells. Like you can't play around that. You can't
Yeah.
just be like, "Oh, well, I'll starve the fish and play creature spells." It's like, no, whenever a player casts a spell, so it doesn't even need to resolve. Like let's say somebody is like, "Oh, I don't want to deal with this Thassa's Oracle." Cast Oracle, cast Tainted Pact, someone counters it. You just got 2/1 or 3/1/1s for free. Like and also like there is a world where for 3, you cast it. You have 6 creatures that can swing out. Um, that'll deal combat damage, which I mean, like in CDH is kind of a pipe dream, but there's a world where you cast this for 3 and you immediately get to the 9 after combat and you just -9 them and GG. Yeah.
That's my thought was that, yeah, it has a mediocre +1. The -2 is okay just because it's a ninja. It's low to the ground at 3, and then at 9 you get the emblem, which
The plus one's pretty good in the deck that it's gonna go in, though. Like
oh yeah.
giving things unblockable and ninjas is to ninjutsu things out is really good.
Well, my thoughts were that it comes out, you put something as unblockable, and then you gain 2 loyalty counters that turn, at least, right? Because every time
Yeah, oh, the plus one, and then whenever it deals damage.
uh,
Yeah.
so whenever a creature deals damage, you get a loyalty
Yeah.
counter. So
And you can sneak
Yuriko
Yuriko
trigger.
in because Yuriko has commander ninjutsu.
Is it better than the one that came out that turns into a creature? I don't know. You know what
I'd
I mean?
run both, honestly. Like I'm no Yuriko player, but like I think both are really good.
I do think this is something to keep in your hat. Like put a little feather in it.
Yeah.
Think about it. I think that this is something. If you're a Yuriko player and you're like, this is dumb, leave it in the comments. But
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that this is Yuriko.
Yeah. So I'm no Yuriko player, but I do have a soft spot in my heart for Yuriko. And I saw a lot of it at MagicCon. I feel like she got way better. I'm gonna give this a 4. I can't imagine you'd play Yuriko and you'd just be like, this doesn't deserve this spot. Yeah,
I like it. I think a 4 is solid.
yeah. And I mean, the other Yuriko or the other Kato, really good. So maybe it's a well, I don't want 2 planeswalkers in my deck. I only have space for one. I had to choose, and it wasn't better than the one that came out in Duskborn, but like I, I like it. I think this one's pretty good. Like,
Well, I think the fact that it gives unblockable or
yeah,
can't be blocked kind of earns its slot for the initial upfront cost of it.
and you also draw.
Yeah. I
Like you loot, but yeah,
I think it's solid, man. I
yeah,
think a 4 is solid. I think that it's not gonna go in every blue deck. That's not
yeah,
it's not a every deck thing. I don't think that every Yuriko may play this, but I do think that a lot might want to.
yeah. So you give it 4 or 3.
A 4.
Okay.
Yeah, 4 is solid.
Sphinx of Forgotten Lore. 2 generic blue creature Sphinx mythic. It has flash. It has flying. Whenever this creature attacks, target instant or sorcery card in your graveyard gains flashback until end of turn. The flashback cost is equal to the card's mana cost. It's a 3/3. I like this card. I like anything that's an attack trigger, not a combat damage trigger. Just all I have to do is swing it, and I don't even care if it connects. Is infinitely better. Like
Yeah.
uh, the fact that it has flash, so if you have 4 open mana for counters, you don't use it. You can flash this guy out and then just immediately get something flashbacked is pretty good. Flying is pretty good. It's a 3/3, so it's kind of a hefty boy to block, even if you have the flyer. Um the effects pretty good. Um how do you win off that? I don't necessarily know.
That was my thought with
Yeah.
it is this is a cheeky way to try to win or to hide a win.
Yeah.
What the win would be, I would say again, leave it in the comments because there's something we're missing here. But I think that this is decent.
My problem, and we kind of talked about this before, is I wanted to review it because to me this is a trap card. It's a card that you look at and you're like, oh wow, like this is a 4 cost flash flying creature that whenever it attacks, something in my graveyard gets flashback. That's awesome. Well, you know what else is awesome? Snapcaster Mage. Snapcaster Mage is just 3 flash, target instant or sorcery, gets flashback, and you can actually use it to flashback counters. So like for 4, you can get a second Flusterstorm of the game and add a storm count. You know? So like your own storm count with Snapcaster and then Flusterstorm from your graveyard. And no one plays Snapcaster Mage in CDH. So
No.
this Snapcaster is a one-time effect, but like really don't think with Sphinx you're going to get more than you're going to be lucky to get the attack trigger. Um, so I would have to rate this a 1. It's cool. Um, I think it's kind of a trap card. I think it's one of those cards that I would want to make because whenever I was looking at this, I was like, "Oh, this is great in Storm," because with Storm, Storm the X Man, like or the X Men, uh,
Or
a-
lady.
yeah, or lady, attack with Sphinx, give something in my graveyard flashback, have Storm connect, flashback that card from my graveyard, and then get the Storm trigger with it. The Storm trigger from Storm, putting Storm on. I
The
wish he wasn't
storm
named Storm.
the storm with the
Yeah,
storm
so
on
confusing.
the side of storm.
Yeah, like I could see it, but also at the same time, it's like, why don't I just add to my storm count with Snapcaster Mage? So I give it a 1.
Yeah, I'm with a 1 as well. I think that's about where it's at.
Go. Abyssal Harvester, creature, demon, warlock. It is a 1 generic black. It's a 3/2. It has tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard that was put there this turn. Create a token that's a top copy of it, except it's a nightmare in addition to its other types. Then exile all other nightmare tokens you control. Um, the thing I like about this is I don't like the tap, so it has to exist for a turn before you can use it. But it's exile target creature card from a graveyard. Any creature that was put there from a graveyard. Yeah. Uh so you can steal other people's stuff when it dies. It doesn't have to be just your own stuff. Um I like it for protecting your own stuff. Like potentially I could put it out with Kodama and then be like, all right, well if you kill Kodama right now, I can't tap it clearly. However, if you try to do it next turn, uh, I get it back.
I mean, any card that gives you a chance if one of your pieces falls is solid. Like, I like it.
I don't think you can steal commanders with this one. It's not like because you have to do it as a reaction. I believe the state base action happens. So like you couldn't kill Sisay and then tap it because the state base action would happen before. Because like you'd send it to the graveyard and then you'd make that decision as a state based action to put it back in the command zone.
I'm more looking at let's say you kill Silvala.
Yeah.
I bring it back. I don't know if it would have haste that turn,
No, it would not.
but uh would it have ETBs?
Yeah.
So you could
So Derevi.
or Thassa?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
it's
someone
cheeky.
else's Thassa too. Like
It,
the thing I like is like in your Sisay, a good example of when people kill your Savala or your big mana dorks, like it's not a second hand with Sisay, but like I definitely prefer them exiled. You know?
yeah.
And this has the option of like, hey guys, I'm gonna do the table a favor. If someone can remove, preferably let's swords, Savala. If we can't, when it goes to the graveyard, I can exile it, get my own Savala, doing the table a favor,
Oh yeah, yeah,
clearly.
yeah.
And
Clearly.
then when it's my turn, I get to tap green to get at least 3. Yeah.
I I would kick and scream if somebody did something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, "There's no way I would give you a Savala, man."
No, I'm doing the table. I'm removing it from Sisay, guys. Like,
Yes, clearly the person that cast it and then it died.
yeah.
Mm,
Uh I'm gonna give it a 2. The fact that it has to tap is tough. because you just kind of put it out for 3 and then you're like, all right, pass. Um, I will say potentially with Tyvar, it's pretty good because if you have Tyvar out, you -2 Tyvar, mill 3 things. Um, because it's exile target creature card from a graveyard that was put to the graveyard this turn. So a
Mm,
lot of things are if it's put from the field to the graveyard. This doesn't care. You could mill it.
mm.
Um, so
Yeah, okay.
so you could worldly tutor the biggest creature in your deck to the top, mill with Tyvar, tap Abyssal Harvester and get a Vorinclex token.
That's silly.
Yeah. So like it's not if your deck is set up to do that, it's pretty good, but it is a lay and wait card, and I just don't think that it's good enough as a lay and wait card to justify CDH. And I think there's too many hoops to give it haste.
I agree with your rating. I do think that this may be somewhat of a trap card too.
I really want to put it in Timno Kodama. Like I really want to. I can't. I really can't, but I want to. Like
I think that it's if you're betting on one of your pieces going to the graveyard, then
yeah.
you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
However, the the ability, especially with Agatha's getting so big right now,
Yeah.
to be like, okay, I'm just gonna get that before you tap it,
Yeah.
I tap mine, and I get
Yeah.
a copy. I get
I
it.
mean on the flip side, it also stops people from targeting things with Agatha's. And you're like, okay, well, if you target it with Agatha's, I'm just going to tap my Abyssal Harvester and get a copy of it, like, and
Yeah.
take it away. But I mean, what you're saying with Agatha's is Agatha's can tap the first turn it comes in, and it's 2, and this is 3. So,
I agree. I mean, there's Agatha's is clearly better.
yeah,
However, this is interesting too.
yeah,
Also, hear me out. Marvin,
yeah,
be silly.
yeah. I like it. Whenever I build a deck, one of the things that whenever I'm looking at cards, I'm like, okay, this is really good if someone removes something or mills something, or someone else just deals with it. And I can go get it. Like I like the flexibility of any creature card that was put in a graveyard this turn. Not just my own stuff. However, a lot of decks are going to put this card in, assuming that they're going to fail. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, why am I putting a card in my deck because I'm expecting to fail? Why don't I just put a deck card in my deck that either stops, like instead of going, oh, okay, you killed my creature, let me get it back because I had an Abyssal Harvester out for 2 turns. Why wouldn't I just instead play Legolas Quick's Reflexes?
Or a counter, yeah.
And I'm like, well, like in Tuna Kodama, since it's not blue, instead of this, really what I should do is put Legolas with split second, where it's like, oh, you're trying to kill this Legolas. There's nothing you can do about it. Your spell fizzles because it has hexproof. And then whenever I swing in with Kodama, I deal 6 damage to something. Yeah,
Yeah, and there's a lot of effects that kind of protect it. Even
yeah,
in green,
yeah.
you have your Veil of Summer and
Snakeskin Veil.
yeah.
Yeah,
I I like it.
Tamayo's quick reflexes. I think, or Tamayo's blessing. Some yeah.
I like the card. I think it's decent. I do think it's a trap though.
I think if you are building a deck that mills your deck out, pretty good. Um, I don't think it's a card. You have to have a deck completely built around this, and even so, it's a lay and wait card, which I do not think is good in CDH at all. CDH is always looking for instant value, or you're putting out so many things that are lay and wait that one of them will get through. Yeah, like Sisay is a good example of like you have the ability to give your Manadorix flash or not flash, haste, of course, with Tyvar, but like for the most part, you're just kind of like, I'm just gonna put out so many Manadorix that go infinite was to say that one of them eventually will get through, and then if they don't, then I have a chromatic orrery with at 7. You know?
Yeah. I mean, again, I like it. I think it is a trap,
Yep.
but
It's a 1.
it's an interesting card.
Yeah. Blasphemous Edict. It's a 3 generic black sorcery. You may pay black rather than play this spell's mana cost if there are 13 or more creatures on the battlefield. Each player sacrifices 13 creatures of their choice. So it's Blasphemous Act in black, but way harder to only pay 1 for.
Yeah. I
uh, now, let's say you're playing the money deck and you're playing the blood artist effect and stuff like that, and you genuinely want your stuff to die and you want everybody else's stuff to die. Pretty good. I say personally, if you're trying to put this card in your deck, you need to reliably be able to have 13 creatures on the field that you want to get their death effects, and everybody else's stuff dying is a bonus, you know?
Yeah, I think that it's limited to 13. I do think that it's very interesting that black has a card similar to blasphemous.
Yeah. And even Blasphemous Act, you just really don't see it because in CDH, there's hardly ever anybody like loading the board up with creatures. And then, it's mostly a dead card unless you're going against like Winota or Kennen. And, even at that point, it's just 13 damage to everything, I believe, which is a lot, but, it doesn't kill indestructible or, things that are giant, that you probably want to deal with, like a 15/15 Orcish Bowmaster token, it won't kill. And this will. Also, sorry to our audio only listeners, but the art is great. It's a candelabra with 13 candles that have been snuffed out by a vampire hand with a giant flaming skull in the background about to eat the entire candle. And then every single candle that's been pushed out, like puffed out, is a screaming soul that's made of smoke. So there's like 12 screaming souls made of smoke. And then somebody's about to snuff out the very final last 13th candle.
I do
Uh,
believe that that's more of a witch hand,
yeah.
just so we know.
Well, vampires, because they're dead. When you die, they think that your fingernails and your hair still grow. So it has long fingernails and it's kind of dead looking, which witches aren't dead, they're green too.
It could be Liliana. Just saying.
I mean, Liliana is kind of a vampire.
No, it is a really cool
Yeah.
art though.
No, I really like it. If I could buy a print of this, I would. It's cool. Um, yeah, if you're audio only right now, I would definitely say when it's safe to do so, I would look up the art because it's a banger of an art. Like,
Yeah, this could be a poster or something. That would be really awesome.
oh, I see why you say it's Liliana. Because the flavor text is demonic pact is all fun and games until the bill comes due. By Liliana Vest. So yeah, you're probably right.
But clearly I read that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I didn't,
I'll give you
but
credit for that. Uh I think this is a 2.
yeah, I think it's more effective than the little demon guy. I could see it too.
I would say if you're running I always forget the type of deck where you just put a lot of creatures out and then you have blood artist effects to kill the table. Do you remember
Aristocrat.
aristocrat? If you have an aristocrat deck, pretty good. Because you're already planning on flooding, you want the stuff to go away, and then as a bonus, your entire opponent's boards are pretty much gone. For black, that's really good. I just don't. I've seen people try to run those decks in CDH tournaments, and they just end up doing absolutely nothing.
I was gonna say aristocrats really don't hit CDH
Yeah,
um,
there's that
level.
uncommon core something that we've played against a couple times from Dominaria, and I've seen that deck 2 to 3 times in a tournament, and every time it was like it just did nothing. Like, it had a lot of silence effects, but other than that, it was too slow for CDH, which, I mean, at the time, I was playing Balin, and I was also doing a lot of nothing. So, but I was doing more nothing than the nothing that they were doing.
It was more effective nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, I would love to see an aristocrat deck. Like, whenever you present the quandary of like, I'm going to put things out on the board, and every time I put them out, you can remove them, but it's going to cost everybody a life. And eventually, if you remove 40 things, the game's over. You know, and
Yeah.
I will be actively trying to put things out and remove them. And I have combos that whenever I get things out, I can infinitely bring a creature back and sack it and bring it back and sack it and kill everybody. And it's a loop that goes nowhere other than just killing everybody,
Mm.
because of how my deck is made. Cool. I think we agree on it too.
Yep, I'm with it.
Bloodthirsty Conqueror. 3 generic black black. Creature vampire knight. Flying death touch. When an opponent loses life, you gain that much life. It's a 5/5. I'll let you take this one over.
I was super excited to see this. Now, by no means do I think that this is going to be the end all be all for CEDH.
It's a 1.
I agree that it could be a 1 or a 2. However, we had Veto, which is the creature equivalent to Sanguine.
Mhm.
This is the creature equivalent to Exquisite, which the combo is Exquisite Blood, Sanguine Bond.
And like any combination of those effects.
Yeah,
But yeah.
which gives you, but there was only one Exquisite Blood effect. This
Mhm.
gives it on a creature, which hasn't been seen yet that I know of.
Yeah. And same costs because the enchantment's 5. This is a creature for 5. And a creature is much easier to resolve than an enchantment.
Now, let's talk about the realistic things here. Do you see a lot of Sanguine Exquisite wins? No.
No, it's 8 mana and you still have to deal the day.
However, it is cool that this was printed as a creature.
Yeah, and like to your effect, it's definitely going in my high power Edgar Markov deck. And I actually like I betrayed you guys. I played a game of casual last week, I have to admit.
He's
Ugh.
losing his touch.
Yeah, no, it was fun. We
No.
did it right after a draft, and everybody was kind of like, I kind of want to stick around and play, but all I have is casual decks. And I was like, I do have my Edgar Markov casual. Like, do you guys want to play? And it was one of those like everybody's like, that's your casual deck. And I'm like, yeah, it would never ever exist in a tournament. Like,
They don't ever believe me that Krakashima was my casual deck.
oh yeah, you're wrong. But like that I will definitely be putting all of the, because it's all vampires really, and
Yeah.
it's Edgar Markov. It's a vampire tribal casual deck. I'll be putting all of those effects in there. It's definitely a high power casual deck, but it's a casual deck. I I just don't see a 8 cost. Like, if this was in Hulk range, I would 100% be like, yeah, this is kind of a problem. But the fact that it costs 5 and Hulk can only get 6 mana worth of creatures, like, you you can't go and fish this out very reliably. Um, it's very hard to assemble, and even when you assemble it, it's like, all right, guys. Well, I've got, if anybody takes a single damage, I'm gonna win, and I'm gonna do this thing that puts a damage on the stack. Then everybody's like, okay, well, on top, I'll just swords it. And you're like, oh, dang it. Like,
I was so close.
oh man. Like,
No, I do think that it's really interesting that they reprinted it as a creature. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of really happy mono black players or vampire players or players that like the exquisite sanguine combo.
yeah,
And this this is something I would definitely put aside and think about because I mean it's a win con. It's an old win con.
yeah. And I mean, to your credit, I have been wanting to kind of adjust the Edgar Markov deck because we have a friend that doesn't really play Magic very often, and whenever she plays, she likes to play this deck, and we'll be playing CDH. And like, yeah, I mean, even so, like, there are times where we're so focused on each other that the Edgar Markov deck just has the chance to build and just build so high that we lose. Like, it is a real possibility that that deck, if we just kind of ignore it and focus on each other, we'll just win the game. um, I do want to kind of soup that deck up a little bit more. I haven't updated it in 2 years because I've probably only played it 2 to 3 times, but I will be using our TCG affiliate link to buy this card for my deck. And if you decide to buy this card for your deck, I would highly recommend you go down to the description. That TCG link is right there. It's so convenient. You
Link in
can
the
click it.
description.
Yeah, you can just click it and then boom, you're at TCG player. It's way easier than typing TCG player. Like what is that? Like
We're all about
TCGPLAYER period
we're all about
C
saving you time.
O M and then you have to press enter. Like how long did that take? Just press that link in the
It's
description,
so funny.
please. Like
No, I'm with you. I think a 2 or a 1 is where it would be, but when I looked at it, I was like, I think that's the exquisite
yeah,
like, I think that's exquisite blood right there.
very cool. Very much worth mentioning.
And I believe that
Very much a
Vito
one. Like,
I think that Vito is also a vampire too.
yeah, all of those effects are vampire. Like even the enchantments have vampires on them. Like it definitely goes in vampire tribal.
Mm,
That being said, a one. Like
I'm with it. I like it.
oh, this is actually pretty. Oh, what? I just read. I sorry, I read the flavor text. This town swims with such exquisite blood. I will take every drop for my own.
Oh, that's awesome.
This the flavor text is fire. Like I'm not gonna
That
read the flavor text of every card, but like this is the second card in a row that I've just been like, let's stop and read the flavor text.
so that bumps it to a 5. I'm just
I'm gonna
I'm
force
just
the will it. Here, no, I'm kidding.
No, so, yeah, for sure, it's the exquisite blood, equivalent, so it's cool.
Flavor 5. Like it's great. I love it.
The art's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like it's so cool that they reference the card in the flavor text. Tiny Bones, Bobble Burglar. One generic black, legendary creature, skeleton rogue. When opponent discards a card, exile it from their graveyard with a stash counter on it. During your turn, you may play cards you don't own with a counters on them from exile, and mana of any type may be spent to cast those spells. Tiny Bones has an activated ability, 3 generic black, tap. Each opponent discards a card, activate only as a sorcery. It's a 1/3.
So, it's clear why this is on here. It's because it's Tiny Bones.
Yep.
It could cost 17 and be Tiny Bones.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on
It's a bad Dothy Voidwalker.
here. For sure. It's just a cool little
Yeah.
rogue bone guy.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say everybody that pulled this card in the pre-release, let it be known that they pulled it, and also that they were going to build a deck around it.
yeah. Also, it didn't do much,
Yeah.
which is unfortunate. I do like the fact that mana can be spent as though if it was any.
Mhm.
But I mean, man, it's not crazy. Maybe if you have a Turgrid and you're using Turgrid, this is a good side piece to it. Or you have this and Turgrids is this.
If you're playing Turgid casual, shame on you. And you know who you're talking to.
I
Shame on
agree.
you.
When I see you
Yeah.
again,
We played somebody that has they enter tournaments like the high power casual tournaments at our local game store. They're just like, I have Turgrid. And it's like, shame on you. Shame on you. You know, like shame on us for being there, but also shame on you. Like,
yeah, I'm definitely gonna yell at him the next time I see him.
yeah. In my opinion, I really like it. I think it's cute. It'll never go in any of my deck because
Agreed.
I also have removed Dothy Voidwalker from a lot of my decks.
Yeah.
And it's not all that great. I will say I was kind of trying to build Beamtown Bullies. I really want to make Beamtown Bullies work. End answer was it still doesn't. But Dothy Voidwalker, and then there's this artifact that's I don't remember the name right now, but you tap it and you pay X and tap it, and target opponent mills cards until um it's like name a color or something like that, or like basically like mill cards until X cards that fulfill the condition hit the graveyard.
Hmm.
But with Dothy on the field, they never hit the graveyard. So it's 4 for the artifact, 1 and tap to activate it, and then they just completely exile their entire deck, and you have Dothy out, so you get their entire deck.
That's funny.
It was something I was trying to work on because I was like, oh, it just kills somebody. Like you can actually use Dothy Voidwalker and another card that taps right away to win the game. Yeah. So I was just like, that's pretty cool. I would consider that combo maybe now that CDH is a little slower, but I also like hearing people from MagicCon. They were like, yeah, I was still going with Rogside. It everybody keeps saying CDH is slower. I just don't see it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. There's some decks got slower. Any deck that used Dockside kind of fell a little bit slower, but
Yeah.
um
Gruul is a very hard color combo to run. Like Atali is I'm not gonna say Atali's dead, but I had no urge to play it lately. Like
I would say this Tiny Bones here though. I don't think it's as good as the Thunder Junction one, me personally. And the Thunder
yeah.
Junction one doesn't get
Costs
played.
and it also costs 1. Like the Thunder Junction is Black Ragavan and still no one plays it. Like
Yeah. I mean, art is a 5. There's no flavor text on it, but
yeah.
it is a Tiny Bones. So.
This card review is now just going to be me complaining about how I can't play Atali anymore. So, and no, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's to me, it's a 1.
So Tiny Bones, Atali.
Yeah,
No,
it doesn't go in Atali, so it's a 1.
it's it's not even red.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Vengeful Blood Witch, a 1 generic black creature, vampire, warlock. When this creature or another creature you control dies, target opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. It's a 1/1. I'm just going to cut this review real short. It's a second Blood Artist, and Blood Artist is really only good in Hulk combos. But having 2 Blood Artists in your deck, especially if you're trying to do Aristocrat, is really good. I'm gonna. It's nothing new. It's literally just a reprint of another card that you can have 2 of now in your commander deck. So I'm gonna rate it 2. Just like we said, Aristocrat just doesn't really work. Um, this one, it it will win the game with Hulk combo.
I
However,
I
like
like Blood Artist effects. I wish Aristocrats was a little bit better than what it is, but as far as CEDH goes, it's not fast enough.
yeah,
And it's nice to know that there's another Blood Artist effect. Maybe have that in your mind, Blood Witch. But
yeah, there's
eh,
if you're playing black white, I would have to say there's probably at this mana cost 4 to 5 effects that do the same thing, and it's still not good enough.
at least
Yeah. Uh and like I mean if you have a aristocrat deck that you're just like, I actually win the game pretty often, like
send the link.
that's great. Enter it in a tournament and get back to me. Like, like
I wouldn't mind seeing the deck list.
yeah, yeah. Like I want to see the deck list, but also like it's a type of deck that I've really wanted to see top 16 in a tournament, and I often look at tournament results and I have not seen it recently. So if you have one that you're like, mine is great, like please go beat everybody's butt at a tournament so that everybody on YouTube can talk about it. Like I think everybody has a soft spot for aristocrat decks because I think everybody at some point goes, "Oh, this is busted," and then you try it and you're like, "Oh, everyone is more busted."
Yeah, I think that's really where it's at, is what you hit like pretty much square,
Yeah,
is that everything else is more effective than this.
yeah.
It's unfortunate because this is effective, it's just not as effective.
Oh, this is a bloodbender from Avatar. You thought I was unarmed. Poor fool, your veins are my arsenal. That's awesome.
Another,
Yeah,
another.
great.
Now
Just
it's a 5.
yeah, just go through the flavor. Just go through the flavor text. Just go to Scryfall and just read all this flavor text. They brought it this set. Like somebody they were like, hey, we just need somebody to write up some flavor text for a couple cards, and that person like they brought it. They didn't have to. They were like Phil Collins and Tarzan. Like they brought it home for no reason other
walked
than to
in,
do it. Yeah,
walked in with a mic and just dropped it.
yeah,
They had it.
yeah. That Tarzan. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to that after. Phil Collins just on the yeah. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. So, Bolt Wave. It's red sorcery. Bolt Wave deals 3 damage to each opponent. Um, there are a lot of combos that use Lightning Bolt that you have to have a crazy infinite loop to win with Lightning Bolt because you have to Lightning Bolt each individual person. Um, and I believe if somebody has like hexproof or something like that, not if they one ring, it's damage, so they still don't. Even though you're not targeting them, they do have protection from damage. It's not each person loses life, so it still doesn't deal with one ring. But let's say someone's cheeky and they have hexproof, you can still bolt wave the table down to win. Um, it is worse because it's only to each opponent. But I mean, one red to do 9 damage across the board
It's not bad.
is good.
There's
I could see this just being a value in mono red burn decks, and there are quite a few mono red burn decks that are doing pretty well. I mean, a lot of those use the double damage effect, so it's one red for 6, 12, 18 damage across the table.
I
Like
was gonna
it's
say the
yeah,
double because they came out with another card that doubles damage.
yeah, dragon, yeah,
It's pretty interesting. I don't know if that's very viable as far as CEDH. It's definitely one of those ones you put kind of in your mind.
yeah,
It's 1 for 9 damage across the board is kind
yeah,
of cool.
yeah. It's pretty good. I
It's
mean,
not instant though.
yeah,
It's a sorcery.
yeah, and it can't like the thing that's good about lightning bolt is it can hit a creature, it can hit a player, it can do all that. Or like let's say somebody is you always have that fear of lightning bolt as a black player because you're like, okay, I'm going to necropotence for 39. Wait, no, I'm going to necropotence for 38. Wait, no, I'm going to necropotence for 37. Oh wait, someone could just lightning bolt me. 36.
Yeah, 36 is better.
And there's no fear of that with bolt wave. Bolt wave is like, all right, on your turn, you might do 3 damage to everybody. Okay. I don't see it replacing lightning bolt in CDH. However, a deck that wants to burn the table, this is going to be a godsend for.
Yeah, this is going to be in addition to the lightning bolt.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, it's a simple card. I like it. I wanted to bring it to everybody's attention. I'll give it a 3.
I could see a 3. 3 for 3 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that was why. I just saw 3 and I was like, yeah, that's fine.
The flavor text is mediocre here.
I mean, the set symbol 79. If is there a six? Did we review the 69 and not say anything? I gotta go back. No, we did not. Okay, that's the sex number, by the way.
Clearly, we're
Oh,
adults
yeah,
here.
this is a family friendly podcast. This is the committed relationship loving partners number 69. Married, clearly. Like,
it's what you dial for help. That's what I'm going with.
well, no, because then if their house catches on fire, people, but we're not responsible for.
Yeah, we disclaimer now. Let's go in the beginning.
Now we're gonna get sued if somebody's house burned down and they were like, well, they told me to call 69. They have to buy me a new house. We're not responsible. Disclaimer.
Not
Right?
at all.
Yeah.
Also, if you take that much information from
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
My house was burning down and I just kept yelling 69 over and over and people just kept laughing. And I had the phone and I was frantically dialing 69, 69, 69. There was a very nice woman on the other side when I was done. She was unhelpful. Uh, so this is Sear Slicer Goblin, 1 generic red creature goblin warrior raid at the beginning of your end step. If you attacked this turn, create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. It's a 2/1. Uh, there is a soft spot in my heart for Perforos decks, and Perforos decks really like dragons, and Perforos decks and other effects like impact tremors, blah blah blah. Really like it when you put out extra things for free. This is a I just attack. I really don't care if it goes through. And then after in my main two, I just put out a Seer Slicer Goblin and I pass and I get 2 free bodies for 2. I get a 2/1 and a 1/1 right away. And then it continues to keep doing the same thing turn after turn until you remove it. And spoiler alert, I'm probably not attacking with it. I'm probably just going to let other things attack. Maybe that 1/1 red goblin. I'll swing it at somebody, and if they deal with it, it'll replace itself at the end of turn. Like,
So I like this card. I used it in the pre-release.
it,
Clearly, we were talking mostly CEDH form.
it was my pre-release card that like it was my promo.
It's good.
Yeah, it was good. I want more of them. Like,
I used it as a so I would go into combat, swing, second main, drop it, get a little goblin guy.
yeah, and then next turn you could attack with the 1/1, and I just really didn't care if somebody dealt with it. Like,
Yeah,
because when I attacked with that 1/1, it just gave me another one. It replaced itself.
but I don't think that it's gonna be an end all be all. I do think it's one of those goblins that you kind of want to have your eye on, because anything that kind of drops out a goblin within a Krinko type of deck
Yeah.
is good.
Balin really liked tokens, and Balin really liked ETB effects. Like whenever a creature enters the battlefield, this happened. So I was always looking for low to the ground creature cards like this that did this kind of effect. Um, that being said, I took Balin apart because it wasn't good. Yeah.
And
Uh,
again, it's just a cool little goblin.
Yeah, I do think mono red Perforos with this set is getting way better. Especially there's a lot of goblin support. If you're the type of person that you're like, I really, really want to have a goblin deck and it be CDH, I do think we're getting close to that with the cards that we've seen right now and in the future of this review. I think goblins got a lot of help this set. Like how Eldrazi got quite a lot of set in MH3. I think goblins are getting that level of support in
I
foundations.
would say that an aristocrat. Like
Yeah.
I feel like aristocrats had a lot of buffs.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that those aren't super good,
Yeah.
but you know, it's definitely it's a two for a 2/1 that gives you a one goblin if you've attacked. I think it's okay.
I also I like it because it's immediate effect. It's not a well I pay 2 and if I can swing with it next turn, it's a no, I've already swinged by the time I'm getting the 2/1 and the 1/1 for 2. Um Winota card, clearly.
Also, this would be a trigger ability. So if you wanted two
Oh yeah, Delaney.
with Delny,
Yeah.
it would
That's
be an cheeky.
yeah.
Would it win you the game? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
it's interesting. Also, they're 1/1 goblins, so maybe this is something you'd put in something like Obnixis. I don't know.
So it the reason I bring out Perforos is because in Japan it consistently places and wins either or in the God of Commander tournament, the mono red Perforos deck. Like it's over there, it's kind of sweeping, and we haven't adopted it over here yet very well. Um and it's I'm seeing cards. The deck's so interesting to me and performing so well in Japan that whenever I see a card that's like this, I'm like, this we're gonna have a problem with that Japan deck over here very soon. Yeah,
Hmm. I'm interested in that too. I'll probably look that up.
I mean, especially with and I think we've definitely talked about it on the channel a couple times, but I think the question was always, um, Okay, yeah, it's mono red, it's Perforos. It does require a lot of setup, but like I can win turn 2 with Magda. You know, it's Magda is good and I can win. I can just turbo out with Magda. Well, you can't turbo out with Magda anymore. Like
Yeah, Magda's kinda stuck.
she got hit pretty hard with the changes. And I mean she's still performing. Like we have a friend that we played tournaments with and he was just wrecking us with Magda. And it is a turn slower, but instead of wearing on turn 2, you're wearing on turn 3. Still pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Next card. Niv Mizzet Visionary. 4 blue red. Legendary creature, Dragon Wizard. Flying. You have no maximum hand size. Whenever a source you control deals non combat damage to an opponent, you draw that many cards. 5/5. The flavor text is Ravnica's sharpest mind and also its biggest ego. Like, I like that canonically Niv Mizzet is kind of an a hole. Like, the reason I put this on is because this and the other Niv Mizzet that everybody plays, I think it's Paragon, the one that's 3 blue, 3 red. These two go infinite with each other. You do have to draw the cards. It's not a May. So like you have to kill everybody before you draw your entire deck or you lose. Um, However, I like that Niv Mizzet and Niv Mizzet can exist and win the game. Yeah.
yeah. If he copies himself, he wins.
Yeah. That's it. Is it gonna be a deck by itself? No. Is it going to go in Niv Mizzet? Well, Niv Mizzet doesn't really exist with Jeweled Lotus being gone. And it wasn't putting up a bunch of results anyway. Like the 3 blue, 3 red pips is really hard. I think this is the one. I think it's another trap.
I'm with the one. I don't. It's just too expensive, and it's part of a win con, but it's what is that, six
Yeah.
cost win con? It's a
And
lot.
and I will say I did look at this combo in Storm because with Storm and Eldritch Evolution, Storm is 4. Eldritch Evolution gives you +2 of whatever you sacrifice. So you can get up to a 6. And then if you have a Storm count of 1, you can get both Niv Mizzets and Storm, sacking Storm herself. And then you're like, okay, so I've got 2 Niv Mizzets. Also, I need to do a damage. And then when I do that damage, I have to count the amount of cards in my library
And pray.
and just really hope that no one gains life to where I draw. And I'm starting a combo that will either kill everybody or I will draw my deck out and lose. So I would always be like, well, maybe I could Niv Mizzet, Lab Maniac. But then at that point, it's like, well, now I have to have like 3 Storm before I Eldritch, and it was a trap. Don't don't try to make this work in Storm. Is it fun? Yes. Is it cool? Yes. Is this a really cool card when it's full art and in the mana symbol foil? Yes. Other than that, it's a one.
Yeah, I'm with the one. It's just too expensive.
Cool. Leyline Axe. This was a lot of fun. So it's a 4 generic cost artifact equipment. If this card is in your opening hand, you may begin the game with it on the battlefield. Equip creature has +1/+1 and has double strike and trample. Equip 3. This was a lot of fun in pre-release. That being said, in CDH, it's a 1. Uh, all the ley lines that are enchantments don't really see much play, and if it's in my opening hand, I put it out on the battlefield and I immediately get an effect. This is if it's in my opening hand, I put it out on the battlefield, and then at some point in the game, I have to pay 3 to equip it to a creature and hope no one swords that creature just to give it double strike and trample. Like,
It's a cool concept. It's
yeah.
not so good um, as far as practical.
Now, having 4 of these in a standard deck or a legacy deck a lot of fun for
Yeah, that
them.
would be pretty
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. It's equipment's not great in CDH. We don't do a lot of combat damage, and then the fact that it's just, oh, I put out a 4 cost equipment for free, but I do have to pay 3 to equip it eventually. Just not good. Not worth the slot.
Yeah, I'd probably say probably a 1.
One for me as well. Scrawling Crawler. 3 generic artifact creature Phyrexian construct. At the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. When an opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life. It's a 3/2. So we have a lot of whenever an opponent draws a card, that player loses 1 life effects now. Just with 3 cards, you kind of have not Traxa. What's Sheoldred? The
Mm,
new Razorkin that's red, and then Scrawling Crawler, where every card draw could be 4. So if they're drawing 2 cards a turn, you're doing 8 damage to them a turn. um, and also with Niv or not Niv Mizzet, what's that? What's the demon? The Rakdos demon?
um,
Obnix.
Obnix.
Yeah, Obnix. Not Niv Mizzet and Obnix is like just twisted in my head. I just could not. I could not separate them. With Obnix, it's a Obnix trigger. Um, that being said, helping your opponents out by drawing them more cards, not great. Even if you're doing a damage to them and getting some triggers. I don't think this would go in Obnixis. I think it's a kind of a scary. If you're building a deck like this, you're probably running the zombie black red blue zombie guy that deals damage every time somebody draws a card, and that is a high power casual deck because if you're running black blue red, you really should just be doing your turbo strategy like Shell.
Yeah, this should be Rogsai or
Yeah.
something like that.
Or Inala. She's those colors, right? Black, red, blue.
Yeah, Nala doesn't get a whole lot of play though.
Yeah, but she's more of like brewers, like under the radar, like you just
Mm.
with eminence, kind of hoping to win. Uh, yeah, I really like it. It's another one where I'm like, I would want to put it aside. I would want to know about it. That being said, it's a win.
I think it could be a 2.
It drawing your opponent a card is really scary in CDH. That's the only
Mm.
reason I say it's a win.
Yeah, I'm with you.
If it was a 3/2 for 3 and it did not have at the beginning of your upkeep, each player draws a card. I mean, I guess it's just your upkeep.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll give it a 2. I thought it was, well, it doesn't matter.
So as soon as it comes out, when you pass, it's going to deal 1 damage for sure,
Yeah.
unless they kill it that turn.
And then unless it comes back around, they never get that
Mm.
bonus. Yeah,
Or
okay,
or
okay,
if they
okay.
attack, you can just block with it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I did. Now that's more of a pre-release mindset. However, I don't know. I could see it
You
used.
won me over on the 2. Yeah. So like I thought it was you pay 3 pass, everybody draws a card. This
Mm-mm.
is you pay 3 pass, everybody takes 1 damage, and then you force somebody to deal with it. And then if they don't, on your upkeep, everybody draws a card.
I didn't even think of the aspect of 3 other turns after you pass.
Yeah.
So with that, like that's 3 Obnixis triggers. That
Yeah.
might be worth it. And
Yeah.
then if you do it, so yeah, they each draw a card, but you get 3 cards on your upkeep.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's
I'd say a 3.
yeah. It's you don't want to load your opponent's hands on your turn because you're like, all right, I'm gonna do some cool stuff. But before I do, everybody put 1 more bullet in your gun. like, like
I'm with you. It's just it also
I'd put it in Obnix. Like I do think that you've won kind of made the argument that has won me over.
also we don't see this guy ever. I think he's high powered casual, but the little pistol red blue guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it would be 3 damage
Yeah.
every time.
Because every time you deal a damage, he deals 2.
So I don't know if that would be viable. I think that would definitely go in the deck, but
Nekuzar, the Mind Eraser, I believe, is the zombie thing that I was talking about. I don't see a CDH deck with that one. I know a lot of people want it to be, and they've tried it. It just
Mm.
giving your opponent's cards is scary. But I think this is a good medium of, if you're going to do those type of effects, put them in Obnix, and then also be prepared to block with your scrawling crawler if you want to get rid of it.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
would lose it that turn.
yeah,
But anyway, no, I kind of like it.
yeah. All right. 3.
Yeah, I'm down with a 3.
Yep, I'll go with 3. Soulstone Sanctuary. This is going to be a quick review. So it's a land, rare, tap, add a colorless. 4, this becomes a 3/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types. It's still a land. I have a soft spot for this cheeky combo with Book of Exalted Deeds. Basically, it's a 3-cost artifact, pay 3 white, tap, exile the Book of Exalted Deeds, put an enlighten counter on target angel. It gains you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game, activate only as a sorcery. So before we had Mutavault, that is a 1. Mutavault becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types until end of turn. It's still land. So for dropping a land and paying 3 to tap this Book of Exalted Deeds, you could just put that counter on the land and you could pass. And it's pretty much you've set up a situation in CDH where it's like, okay, as long as this land exists, I'm the only one that can win the game. What are you guys going to do about that? And outside of Tidespout Tyrant, not a lot. You know, there's not really much land destruction in CDH. I will say this for 4 makes it a lot worse. Um,
The other one you use is like what, a 2 to do it,
it's 1.
or 1,
It's
and it seems
1 and
crazy.
it's a 2/2. So I mean, if you're crop rotationing to do that, you're just gonna go grab Mutavault every single time. That being said, like for that type of, oh, I've just locked the game irrevocably for the most part. Like very very few things gets anybody out of that. It's pretty cool. That being said, in CDH, ties are bad. So you investing
It's probably like
7 mana just to never lose the game, not great. Because at that point, your opponents are just like, well, if I can't win the game and you're the only person that can win the game, I'm just gonna do everything I can to draw us out to time. And sometimes that's, hey, let's all sit and talk about the game for 20 minutes and strategize and run the timeout, which is legal to do, unfortunately. And as long as it's on your turn, you can tell them, like, hey guys, like, we're holding up the game. I'm going to start taking game actions. You guys can talk and strategize, but like we need to move the game along. However, when you pass, somebody can literally sit there and talk about the game for 20 minutes and think and do stuff. And you can call for slow play, but as long as they're making game decisions, it's really hard to it's really hard to get a judge to call slow play. I've found in tournaments. So
Yeah, I agree.
you pretty much are just you're never going to lock the game so much with this combo that you win. It is cheeky just to get a tie point, but unless you have those 2 other wins and you're just like, I don't really care if I tie the rest of the game, not a great combo. Definitely not worth a colorless land and a dead draw artifact, and I don't really think that you want to put 2 lands in that do this effect. However, really funny. That's why I bring it up. Like,
Yeah, I think I'd give it a 1.
yeah, it's a 1. Yeah, it was more an opportunity for me to
Say that other combo.
educate the combo to our listeners.
It is an interesting combo, though.
Use that combo on your friends. If you don't want any friends anymore, use that combo. Like if there's somebody in your play group and you just do not like them and do not want them to come back, use that combo.
Or if you want to see them start playing Strip Mine
Yeah, that's true.
or
And then you take
World
your
Fire.
dead draws out.
It's awesome.
All right. So now we are going to go into the Jumpstart cards. These cards are not in the foundation packs at all. I didn't pull any of them in the pre-release. I didn't see anybody pull them in the pre-release. Maybe they're in the collector's boosters. I don't know.
I didn't see any in collectors.
Yeah, I believe they're only in the Jumpstart. Um, these will be really quick. Being Jumpstart cards, they're supposed to be kind of simple cards. Like they're supposed to be new player friendly, somewhat is kind of the idea of Jumpstart. Um, so they should be pretty quick reviews, but I didn't see enough of these cards to justify a second episode, and I really want to get into talking about MagicCon next time. So
Yeah.
I think we're just gonna make an exception here and just review them in set because they are the Foundation's Jumpstart. This one is called Delightful Discovery for generic blue instant. This spell costs one less to cast for each spell your opponents have cast this turn. Scry 2, then draw 2 cards. Um, this is just nice value, in my opinion. It in CDH, it's not uncommon that someone will play 4 spells on their turn. And that's each opponent. So like let's say I cast something, somebody counters me, I defend my thing with a counter. This is a draw 2 for scry 2, draw 2 for 2, which that's a very realistic situation. And then usually after somebody tries to defend it with a counter, they'll do something else. And then you can be like, "Hey, I can go 4 deep for an answer potentially. I'll for blue put this on the stack, scry 2, draw 2 cards. I'm just trying to get a swords or something like that." Um I do not think that this is a auto include for blue. I just
No.
I just think it is worth considering. I do think for quite there are a lot of situations where I mean also if they're laying mana rocks, like if somebody puts down a lotus petal, cast something, cast something else. Like if somebody lotus petal, soul ring, arcane signet, you're there. You know. That being said, a lot of CDH is people. You don't want to rely on your opponents for your card value to be good. So I don't think this will be a auto include, but going 4 deep at instant speed for blue is pretty nice.
It's yeah. I like it. I think it's interesting. I don't think I don't think it's practical. I don't
Yeah,
think it'll get a lot of play.
yeah. I mean, if I think it'll get play in mono blue.
Yeah, somebody would.
Yeah,
I think it's probably a 1 or a 2
yeah.
on the pay scale here.
I'll give it a 2. You're really probably just putting this in mono blue and like what are you playing that's mono blue minus like Alvar and Alvar has better combos there. I mean, I guess new Urza
Urza,
too.
maybe.
Yeah. Uh, good, potentially really good, but relying on your opponents for your cards to be good, not great. So I will give it a 2.
Yeah,
And we have not used our Force of Will yet.
I know.
So this must be a pretty stacked foundations.
I think it's the other side of the
Yeah.
spectrum here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a core set. Everything is generically good, but very simple. Like none of it blows me out of the water, except for one card, and I think I'm overestimating it, but I'm still gonna use my Force of Will on it.
I think also that it's not really tailored for CEDH, so we don't really have a whole lot of good commander cards here. This is more of
Hmm.
these cards are just here for the standard format.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the foundations, the Jumpstart are not standard legal, so this is where we're kind of starting to get into more cooler stuff.
oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, okay, that makes sense.
yeah. As I mean, I could be wrong, but I do believe that the Jumpstart is not standard legal like the other Jumpstarts were.
That makes sense.
And if I'm wrong, please let me know. Be as mean as possible in the comments. Thank you. Uh, Fire Spitter Whelp, 2 generic red, creature, dragon. Flying, whenever you cast a non creature or dragon spell, Fire Spitter Whelp deals 1 damage to each opponent. It's a 2/2. For this effect, you'd really want it to be a 2 cost. The fact that it's flying 2/2 is pretty good. The more effects that you can get like this, where you tax your opponent, is good. And we've seen a lot of them printed. I would like to have a commander deck where every single card I put down is this is a life tax. This is a life tax. I've talked about it quite a bit. I'm sure if you've listened to this podcast a lot, you're like, yes, yes, cryptid. I know you like it. That being said, it's 3.
I do think it's more Obnixis-ish
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, I could see a 3.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of effects that Obnixis has gotten in the last 3 months, like they're eating good. Like,
Yeah, you've got a lot of plays. There's some really crazy black-red lizards. And
yeah. I mean, at this point, really, the downfall of the deck is everybody will try to remove your commander, and you don't have any counters. So,
yeah.
Scythe Cat Cub, 1 generic green creature cat. It's a rare. It has trample. 2/2. It has landfall. When a land you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, double the number of 1/1 counters
Oh, that's
on that creature
stupid.
instead. Yeah, it's
That's dumb.
yeah. I mean, we put a cat tribal card in before.
Yeah,
So yeah,
this is a lot cooler than the other one though.
this is good. Because in CDH we use sack lands, you're gonna get 2 landfall triggers pretty often. Putting a 1/1 counter on something, especially if you have synergy with modified creatures, if you have synergy with Agatha's Soul Cauldron, like this can get big. And the thing that's crazy about it is you could play it, and you could play your sack land like turn. You could realistically play this on turn 1 with a land and then Lotus Petal, and then your turn 2 is sack land, and you have a 4/4 with trample on turn 2. Yeah, because it's not a. Usually these effects are put a 1/1 counter on another creature you can control. This is target creature you control, so it can do itself. Um, it can get pretty stupid pretty quickly. Has a lot of synergy. That being said, I don't know what deck that this is a huge crazy thing in. I would like to put it in a couple decks. Like Elvery is the only deck that I really see me justifying the spot.
So I might be reading this a little wrong.
Oh,
Right.
Tyam. This is that's where it goes. Tyam.
So my question here would be, so when a land you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. If this is the second time the ability is resolved, double the number of 1/1 counters on that creature instead.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's instead. So you don't get. Okay,
Yeah.
I
So
thought
it's
that you would get 2 1/1 counters,
oh
and
no,
then it would
yeah.
double. So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
And it's also it's not a repeatable thing. So like let's say you have like landfall, it's the first time it resolves, I get something. The second time it resolves, I get something. Third and forward, I get nothing.
Yeah.
So it's oh wait, no. When a land you control enters, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. So it's 1/1 counter, double, 1/1
1
counter,
counter
1/1
double.
counter, 1/1 1/1 counter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So it's not when a land you control enters for the first.
It only
Yeah.
replaces it
So it
only
only
replaces
replaces
the
the
second
second,
one.
and then 3 and on you just get more 1/1 counters.
That's interesting.
What if, hear me out, Devoted Druid.
That's funny.
Devoted Druid, because you could have Devoted Druid out, play Scythe Cat Club, play your land for turn, put 2 1/1 counters on Devoted Druid. Your Devoted Druid's 2/4. Green, untap, eat it. Green, untap, eat it. Green, untap, eat it. Or get a -1/-1, tap. You get 4 mana that turn from Devoted Druid.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of stupid. And also, like, you could give your Birds of Paradise a 1/2. Like, a lot of the problem with mana dorks in CDH is, oh, okay, someone played a Bowmaster, I'm just out. At least with Skycat Cub, you could start making those mana dorks 2/2s instead of 1/1s, and that's infinitely better. Like,
Yeah, I like it. I think that this is a pretty solid card.
yeah, I wanted to say it was a trap card outside of Elvery, but the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of winning over with it. I do not think it will go in my deck. If you play Tyam, I would consider it as well because that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Um,
It,
3.
yeah, 3 solid.
Yes, it's not an auto include. I don't think. I think it's just really good value. It's not a VIP in any deck though. I think Tyam really likes it, but Tyam really likes a lot of things much better. Like it's no devoted druid. You know,
Yeah, it's
devoted
definitely
druid would be
interesting.
a 4. Third, Mare of Destiny. It's a 2 generic white legendary creature Pegasus, flying lifelink. When you cast a Pegasus, unicorn, or horse spell, copy it. The copy becomes a token. Other Pegasi, unicorns, and horses you control get +1/+1. It's a 2/4. I put it in the review because I wanted to have an excuse to say Pegasi on the podcast.
I've learned a new word today.
Yep. The mythical creature Pegasus, when you discuss multiple of them, they are called Pegasi.
You heard it first here.
Uh, the hair on this Pegasus is godly. It reminds me of when Finn the Human takes his cap off in Adventure Time.
I could see that,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a one for CDH. I liked it.
It's cool looking, and it's got Pegasi on there, which
Yeah.
is funny.
The thing I like about it too, it's when you cast a creature spell, you copy it. So if you cast a creature spell, you just get 2 copies on the stack. It's not when it resolves and enters, you get another one. It's okay, I cast this, there's 2 on the stack. Counter both of them. Yeah.
I mean, the issue though that I see is how many horse or Pegasi unicorn
This would have to be a mono white casual horse
horse deck?
tribal deck.
That's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. You gotta when you make the Mox field, you have to call it horsing around.
Horsing around
Or
with the
yeah,
Pegasi.
yeah. Pegasi high five or
That's awesome.
Pegasi alpha phi. Like, yeah,
That's awesome.
Pegasi going dark. Yeah. It's a one. I love it, but it's a one.
One, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a one.
Uh Nerdiv Devious Diver. 2 generic blue. Legendary creature Merfolk Rogue. When Nerdiv Devious Diver becomes tapped, target player mills cards equal to its power. When you cast a spell from your graveyard or activate an ability of a card in your graveyard, draw a card and put a +1/+1 counter on Nerdiv.
I think it would be Neardiv.
Nerdiv?
It sounds weird, but you don't say. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Leave it in the comments. Let us know how that
Uh,
just looks weird.
yeah. As far as the art, would you tap that?
This is family friendly.
Well, no. When Nerdiv Devious Diver becomes tapped, target player mills cards equal to its power. The
Oh,
entire
this is
point,
the whole reason
yeah,
you put this
the
in here.
entire point of this card is to tap it. Would you tap it? That's my question. It's a yes or no question.
She would be tapped every chance we get.
Yeah, I would tap it for sure.
So bad.
That's what the card does. I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? I don't get it.
I think that you knew what you did.
I don't understand.
I had to double take you.
So yeah,
Caught me by surprise.
I got him. So whenever I looked at this, the reason that I justified it being on was because if you Underworld Breach combo, it would continue to draw cards and put 1/1 counters, and then you'd eventually tap it to mill more cards if somebody interrupted your breach. It's I could see somebody trying to do a mono blue commander with it. It seems uh the opposite of my other pun. I think it has legs. I think this merfolk has legs. Uh, I
It's
I think you could make a pretty good mono blue commander off of it. Is it better than the other mono blue merfolk that I talk about all the time that I never remember its name? No, I don't think so.
uh,
But I do like that other types of play are opening up.
yeah, I could see that. I
I
think it's decent. I just don't see it. I don't see it being very practical.
it also gives you Ishikron Scepter because Ishikron Scepter untaps all permanents you control. You tap it, you mill, and then if you have Thassa's Oracle in hand or a way to cast it from, well, no, you don't want to cast Thassa's Oracle from graveyard because then you'd have to draw a card. That's bad. But if you have Thassa's in hand, Ishikron Scepter now becomes infinite mana, infinite mill, win with Thassa's.
Mhm.
Um, or anything that would let you tap this over and over and over again. You potentially have a way to mill your deck with this. And it's a merfolk, and merfolk are known for untap mechanics. So
Yeah.
I I think it can do something. I think we might need to watch it. I'm gonna put it on the watch list. I'm gonna tap it. Um,
If it gets played, it's getting tapped.
yes. So this is your force of will card, right?
No.
All right.
I think the setup you had for the card was a 5. The actual card itself is probably like a 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'd give it a 3. It's on the watch list. I don't. It has potential. Uh, I don't know if it will live up to its potential.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're trying to do a mono blue Thassa's Oracle win, definitely this is if you're a mono blue player, this is your friend.
Also, if you're looking or listening to us and are just like, "That card is awesome. This is the combo," put it in the comments so
Yeah,
we see it. We know that it's good. We just don't know exactly where it would be set, and it's just too funny for him to say tap it.
yeah. So if you're an audio listener, it is mermaid waifu. It's a red anime girl. The it's somewhat accentuated in the chest area with a bikini. um it feels weird explaining it. Like
No, you put yourself
yeah,
in this
I
situation.
did what I did, so I'm gonna explain it. But all of these cards that are we're reviewing from the Jumpstart are mostly anime, and there's a lot of waifus.
What what's the color on her tail? I don't know if the
The tail is like a sunset yellow. It's really beautiful.
I
So
just
like so like what's the red mermaid waifu from Zelda, like Breath of the Wild?
I don't know.
It's her in magic form, but she has she has was it not even I
Azores.
think she has pigtails, like even more waifu with the pigtails. They knew what they were doing. I I'm not owning this. Magic made the mistake.
It's gonna get tapped a lot when it's played.
Her set number is 36. That's a pretty sus number.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why. Oh, 34 is the sus number. Never mind. Good on them for moving it up too. I would be-
That's awesome.
uh, could you imagine people being like, Nerdiv Devious Diver 34 magic rules?
Uh,
like that would don't search that. Don't
I'm
search
sure it's already on the
yeah,
website.
don't search rule 34 Nerdiv.
It's
Did you hear about the combat changes? The new rule 34?
oh
No.
god.
Yeah, I might have to put a warning on this podcast. Don't if you're listening to this and you
Just don't listen to it with kids.
don't ask anybody what rule 34 is, please. If you don't know what it is, it's just don't. Just don't ask.
Just stay in the dark about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go on the next
Oh,
one.
this one's awesome.
Takeo, the Patient Avalanche, 3 generic blue. Legendary creature, Turtle Ninja. I really wish they would have swapped that.
I don't think they could have.
Yeah. Takeo, the Patient Avalanche, enters tapped. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, if it didn't die, scry 1 and put a 1/1 counter on Takeo. Whenever Takeo attacks, you may pay blue-black, or blue or black, hybrid mana. When you do, target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. It's a 4/5. Um, he's a Ninja Turtle. Flavor win of a 5.
Yeah, 100%.
We got there's a Ninja Rat, and now there's a Ninja Turtle, and this is a Demir Commander, so you could play both of them. I really wish that they both had partner. That'd be pretty cool. But partner with them, like not just partner in general. That'd be stupid. Like, uh, on its own, it's not very good. I also don't think that it could ever be a CDH commander by itself. I don't think it goes in Yuriko. I put it on here because it's a Ninja Turtle.
Yep. Yep, I was wondering if you were gonna say it. That's the reason I would put it on here, is because it's a turtle ninja.
They have a mutant subtype. Don't be cowards. Make it a teenage ninja mutant. Oh wait, no, a mutant ninja turtle. Because then they can't get sued because it doesn't have teenager in it.
I think that it even has a headband.
Let me look.
Can't really see that well on it, but I do think
The art is pretty confusing. Like I can't really
there's a
figure out
lot.
what's going on.
There's a lot going on in that
Like
art.
I do believe he has a green headband, which is safe because none of the other ones have green headbands. But he has like a lightning bolt hair, Super Saiyan wisp coming off his head.
I can't even like
It's
it's a lot going on. Like he looks like a blob in a wheelchair for me, but I don't.
yeah, it's I literally put my face right next to the screen to verify if he had an eye band and
I'm gonna look real quick.
yeah. Yeah, dead air is bad, but like we had to take a closer look.
Sorry, guys. I
Yeah.
can't tell what's going on or where he's at.
Yeah.
I think I see a face. I see weird hands.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah, it's a
it's
1.
yeah, it's one.
Yeah. Flavor 5, card 1. Uh, Everith, a Viceroy of Plunder, 2 generic black, legendary creature, vampire soldier. Flying, sacrifice another creature or artifact. Put a 1/1 counter on Evereth, Viceroy of Plunder. If you sacrifice permanent was a treasure, Evereth gains lifelink until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. Whenever Evereth dies, you may pay 1 generic hybrid black red. When you do, Evereth deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. It's a 2/2. Um, I did think for a little bit this was a good commander. It seems like you could just sacrifice 40 things, or no, 38 things, and then sacrifice her to herself, pay 2 and kill the table. She cannot, it's sacrifice another creature or artifact. So if you get her giant, you have to find a way to kill her, and then you still have to pay 2. I think it has possibility. Honestly, any card that says sacrifice another creature or artifact and there's no cost goes crazy. Like you can do loops with Corvold, which I mean Corvold is kind of a land-based card like deck now, but anytime I see that you can sacrifice another creature or artifact for free, that opens my mind to like, oh, okay, like you can just do crazy loops. Like this Underworld Breach, and then like uh you could just yeah, I don't know. Like there's possibilities, but like
Is is there a loop with the crawler and Phyrexian
well,
tower?
so you have to sacrifice the
Not Phyrexian.
crawler to Phyrexian Altar to get the black, and then you have to have a
Oh,
zombie.
okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. But like this and the devil that deals damage every time something's sacked, or like,
Hmm.
there's a lot of Hulk combos that require a card that sacrifices a creature for free. And currently, the only thing that does it is a 2-cost vampire that just lets you scry one. And then this is better. There's also like a camp block zombie that does the same thing, I believe. But there's not very many options.
I mean,
Realistically, you would want this at a 2-cost for Hulk so that you get two other 2 costs. Now you have to do 6. But like there's a lot of therethere's a lot of possibility here.
I
It's
mean,
it's another, I just don't know what it is.
it's got a free sack outlet, which is
Yeah.
solid,
And it's
and
legendary 2-color commander too.
it's got a pay one black or two, pay two with one black or red to
When it
destroy the tape.
dies, the trigger, yeah.
So I don't know. I think that it's almost there. I think that there's maybe something that could do it. What that would be, I don't know if that would.
I would be a lot more comfortable with this if it could kill itself. The fact that you have to find a way to sack it to do the second part, and then you still have to pay 2 mana, and then you still have to have really, if you're going to kill the table, you have to have an infinite loop. And if you have an infinite loop, you should just kill the table with an infinite loop. I think there's a deck out there that probably wants to sacrifice a creature or artifact in the command zone, because right now you have to search for a creature to do it, and the way you do it is usually with Hulk lines, which it's like you got to put a 6-cost creature out, sacrifice that creature. It's a lot to go through.
I don't see her being a commander though. I think that it's part of a win con, but I don't see where she would be able to do it herself.
I mean, the fact that she's in the colors with the devil, that every time you sack something, it deals a damage.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
She is black
yeah,
red.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's not legendary. So like, I do think you could make this work. The question is, would this be high power casual or would it be CDH? Because it's there, as a commander, but also, I mean, it's pretty good as just a normal creature redundancy. Um, I'll give it a 3 because of that.
Yeah, it's a win con. I'll give it 3.
Yeah. I would really like to see somebody be like, "No, this is cracked. Like I made a deck with it. It's gonna win." Like if I could have more waifus in the command zone at the tables, like heck yeah. And this is a waifu that's wearing armor and has a sword and has like she looks like a Lilithmon from Digimon, which yeah, yes, would would next. Speaking of waifus, Rev Tithe Extractor. I'm really resisting a joke right now to keep it PG.
I think we passed that though,
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'm trying. I'm
Mm.
trying. This
You're not doing a very good job,
they
man.
put waifus in the game. I gotta say something. I can't just not. 3 generic black legendary creature, human rogue. Whenever you attack, target creature gains death touch until end of turn. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, create a treasure token. Then look at the top card of that player's library and exile it face down. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. It's a 3/3. Um, the fact that it's human is great. Timna really wants to put down a Cavern of Souls and named Human. And this also is a legendary creature that is uncounterable with Cavern of Souls, Delighted Halfling. Um, it's also great that whenever one or more creatures you control, you'll deal combat damage to a player. So you could put her out, move to combat, hit 3 people with Timna, exile their top card face down,
Yeah, that's significant.
get a treasure token, and then draw 3 cards. And the fact that they don't know what it is pretty good. The worst part of it is you may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. You have to spend the color mana to do it,
Yeah.
which the treasure helps you with. I believe Ragavan is the same. And like at the end of the day, is 4-cost Ragavan good? in Timna Kodama, yeah, it's gonna replace Kona and Timna Kodama most likely.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's I like it.
I think that it's decent. I think that the mana cost kind of hurts it as a whole. However, I mean, it's got a paragraph of text
Yeah,
on this thing.
and then also like whenever you attack, target creature gains death touch until end of turn is also not negligible either.
No,
Like,
no. I
yeah,
mean, you can block Timna if you want, but
yeah,
you'll kill something.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's not bad.
I like that you can just like the art is her sitting pretty on a throne, and you can literally pay 4, put her out, and all of her effects immediately happen. You immediately get all of that value, which is what you want to see in a CDH card. You don't have to cast her and then go, all right, next turn, if I get to attack with her, gonna be pretty good. Like you could cast her and then in a pretty good board state, get 3 treasures back and then get 3 face down cards from your opponent. Like pretty good value.
Hmm, I like it. I don't think it's a 5, but I do think it's in the upper tier of our ranking system, though.
Well, it's a waifu, so I want to give it a 4. Um, she has a vulture, I believe, on her shoulder.
Yeah.
I really want to see cosplays of her.
Oh my
If you're
god.
gonna cosplay her and you need somebody to look
Rate
at
it.
pictures of you in the
Oh god.
cosplay, I'm gonna put my personal. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do
This
that.
is my personal phone number.
My personal phone number.
Please send all of
Uh,
them here.
yeah, it's a nice card to look at. I'm not gonna lie. But I think it's a 4. I don't
Yeah,
think it's like Dothy Walker.
I'm with a 3 or a 4.
Yeah,
So I I mean it's the amount it costs is what really hurts it for me. I think if it was a 3 cost, you'd be looking
yeah.
pretty
I
right
would
there.
much rather it be a 3 cost, but the fact that you pay 4 and then move to combat and then can get treasures,
That's
it
true.
turns everything into Bragavan.
That's true.
Like,
I'm with you.
and then
Yeah, a
also
4.
like it's a 4 mana investment that I look at it a lot like Tivit. Tivit is a big investment, but you at least get 2 treasures when you cast Tivit.
Mm,
This is a 4 investment, and realistically, you're probably going to get a treasure back. And if you're not going to get a treasure back, you're not casting it. You know, a treasure and an opponent's face down exiled card.
yeah, I like it.
Um, I'm gonna put it in Timna Kodama for sure. I think this is. I've been looking for a card to replace Kona, and I think this is the card that replaces Kona.
I could see that.
Yeah,
Kona kind of this is more immediate value,
yeah.
and I think I could see that being a
I
lot.
mean, if I take your Thassa's Oracle and you don't know it, or I take your Derevi and you don't know it, like, you'll be like, all right, well, I'm gonna win with Sisay. Put the trigger on the stack, and I'm like, cool. And you're like, I can't find my Derevi. It's like, oh, I wonder where that went.
Mm, I
Like,
wonder where that's at.
yeah, you don't know what I have, and that's always going to be a like, man, I know I can win if I can fish this out of my deck. Let me crack a sack land and see what's gone.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
That's what I was thinking. I'm gonna have to watch my searches and look through.
yeah, let me crack a sack land to make sure that
The
it's in there.
pieces are
Yeah,
still there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's really good. Is it a commander by itself? I really don't think so,
Yeah, I
but
don't think so either.
it's very good with Timna, and Timna sees a lot of play right now. I would be surprised if it doesn't go in Timna Thrasios as well.
Also, it gives a treasure. Treasures are, I mean,
Also,
it's a lot.
it's wearing knee high boots.
It's a
Those are
lot
hot.
going on.
Yeah. All right, 4 or
Yeah,
3.
I would say a 4.
Cool. Are you gonna force a will this one?
No, not this one.
I kind of want to force a will this one, but I have my eyes set on another one, so I will
I,
skip it.
Again, I still think that the white sorcery is still probably the most practical. But I mean, that's just where we're at.
All right. General Kriat, the Bolt Bringer. 2 generic, red. Legendary creature, Goblin Soldier. When one or more goblins you control attack, Create a 1/1 red goblin creature token that's tapped and attacking. Whenever another creature you control enters, General Kriat, the Bolt Bringer, deals 1 damage to each opponent. It is a 2/2. Again, keep hammering this home, but they keep printing cards for it. It's one of those effects that every time you cast a creature or a creature enters, not even cast a creature, whenever another creature enters, every opponent takes damage. Obnixis likes it. Perforos style decks like it. Um, Whenever a goblin attacks, you just make one. So it's another creature that for 3, you cast it. You move to combat. You attack with your goblins. You get a 1/1 goblin that's tapped and attacking. You deal a damage immediately because of its own effect. It feeds itself. Like it's a pretty good card.
I
That
do
deck type is getting more and more realistic.
I do think that this is a pseudo win card for like Krinko.
Yeah.
What would Mob Boss be viable? I don't know. I do think that this is definitely a good, you know, thing in the belt.
Yeah, I think we're getting closer to a world where mono red goblins could exist in CDH out even outside of that Japanese Perforos deck. So, which that Japanese Perforos deck is basically Perforos and then a bunch of goblins in a trench coat. Like you don't know it's a goblin deck until you start playing it, and then you're like, "Oh, okay, I see what this is."
That's awesome.
I'll give it a 3.
You
I don't
sure?
think it's
Are you sure this one isn't a waifu? It says that it's a lady there.
to cross swords. No, so I gotta educate you. This is a short stack.
I don't know what we're talking about.
I, I'll educate you later.
Okay.
Yeah, this
God.
is a short stack. Goblin waifus are not waifus; they're short stacks.
Oh my God. You heard it first. I don't even know what we're
To cross
doing.
swords with her is shockingly bad idea.
I do like it. I think it's a maybe a 2 or a 3 for sure. I don't think it's a 4, but I do think it's pretty up there.
Yeah, I really like. As far as this set, I believe all of these type of effects that poop out goblins and do damage, put them all together as a group, they're a 4 because
Yeah.
they make those decks much better. Singularly, this is a 3 to me.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
with you on that too.
it is cool that you could have this in the command zone, and it could be a pretty good.
There's no goblin that's going to be better than Krinko though.
Yeah, but Krinko just puts out 1/1s and you pass. This actively, as you put goblins out, kills the table.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like I agree there's probably no better than Krenko, but Krenko you have to go get impact Trevor's or one of these type of effects. This one is I don't care how many times you remove it, I will always have access to this.
Mm,
Mostly. Yeah.
okay. You won me over. I like it. It's about a 3.
3 for the short stack. I agree. I hope that's not like a bad term. I just heard I saw it one time in a meme. So if that's a like really gross, nasty term, I'm very sorry. I really don't know.
Oh man.
I might have to look this up and edit that out if it is. Dionysus, Elfish Archdruid, 3 generic green. Legendary creature, Elf Druid. Elves you control have, whenever this creature becomes tapped during your turn, untap it and put a 1/1 counter on it. This ability triggers only once each turn. It's a 3/3.
That's kind of silly. There's a lot of
Yeah.
stuff going on with that.
It's uncommon. Like that's the thing that's crazy to me. Um I am going to force of will this one.
Worse
Um
than that one.
yeah, this is the I'm gonna throw it down. So this is the one that I looked at and I was just like, I play this, I tap Devoted Druid, which Devoted Druid is becoming like a very big card in the format now. I untap it, I tap it again. So I've gotten 2 green. I untap it, remove the 1/1 counter, tap it again. So on that turn, I get 3 green mana if I have Devoted Druid out the moment I play this. So it really only costs one. And that's not counting if I already have another Land of War Elves, all of those green elves that tap. Um, I could see this itself being a pretty strong commander, like an elf ball commander.
Mm.
The fact that all of your mana dorks, when they tap, they just get bigger and then they untap is stupid. Because you could tap them, play a creature, they untap, and then you can attack with two twos and three threes and like
I still think that this would be a better in like Lathril or something, more elf. All you want another color. I think that giving Gelgari to elves is a lot.
yeah. I mean, elf ball. The thing about elf ball is it has to win through combat. Like you look at elf ball and you're like, okay, the whole point of this is going infinite green and then just trampling over everybody. Like I know what I'm signing up for. I know how to stop it. Yeah. I think like it's no Yisan Wandering Bard. I do think it's a really cool casual card. Um, I really do like it for Timna Kodama. Am I putting it in Timna Kodama? No. I think I'm probably putting the Black Ragavan waifu in instead. I probably should have used my Force of Will on that one, but this one, immediately the moment I saw it, I was like, this is stupid. This goes crazy with so many things. I'm more giving it the Force of Will as a this has so much potential
Yeah, utilization.
rather than this wins the game. Like this isn't something that just immediately spikes and win, and it can. Like it's not something that like without very much help wins. Like if you have this Archdruid, a Mana Dork, and then the unicorn that flickers things.
Emil?
Yeah. If you have a meal, you
Yeah.
can keep flickering Dionysus and then it's always untapping elves because that once a turn resets.
Mm, yeah, I
Um,
could see that.
so as long as you have two mana dorks, this, and then a way to flicker it, you just go infinite and your mana dorks are infinitely big. However, there's a lot of cards that I can say, well, with these four cards, you just win the game. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the only downfall. But like the fact that mana dorks, I don't really count mana dorks as well. If I have these on the field, I win because mana dorks are always well. I'm just tapping them and ramping. You're always going to play them. You're always going to try to get them in your opening hand. When you can turn a mana dork, the thing I like about Devoted Druid is you can turn a mana dork into a way to win with other things,
Mm.
and that's really good because people aren't really gonna wince when you're like, I'm gonna play a Llanowar War Elf. I'm gonna play a Devoted Druid. And I will say Devoted Druid is kind of getting that point.
Oh no, devoted druid is kill on sight.
Yeah.
You want to exile on sight.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna Green Sun Zenith for Devoted Druid. And like a couple of people at the table are like, yeah, whatever, he's getting a Mandoric. And then people that know are like, no, kill that. Please kill
Yeah,
that.
stop that now.
And in fact, he has black in his deck, so please don't kill it. Like you have to swords it because if you put it in the graveyard, maybe he wants it there. Like maybe he's gonna squirrel combo it. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, I think elves are getting a lot better to where we could potentially see some elf tribal be pretty good. Does this get it there? I do think so because I force the willed it, but it just really strengthens what green wants to do as an entire color. Um, I really just wish devoted halfling was an elf. Really, like that's the only problem.
I would say for me this would be like a high 3 or a 4, but I could definitely see the 5 potential.
I'm only going to give it a four, which is kind of weird to force of will it and then say it's a four, but that also just kind of shows the power of this set. This set is just generically good.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, they printed a new Thassa's Oracle. It's just this set is a set and like I like sets that come out where it's like, oh, my existing decks are getting better. what do I put in? Because like at that point, it's okay. I'm just gonna swap this card for this, and my deck gets a little bit stronger. Rather than like I have to make a new deck, I have to overhaul my deck. Like I like just going. Yeah, this Black Ragavan's pretty good. I'll just swap it out with Kona, and now my deck's better.
I do I do like this one. Um, I think that I probably should have used my force of will on the white sorcery, which if if so, that would be where mine went, but it would have been before this, so yours would have won. So
Yeah.
I'm with all that, but I don't think that this is, and maybe I'm wrong.
I mean,
I'm not a green player at heart, so
I don't think it's bad to also not use the force of will, just to kind of bring home that this is not a set where you're like, you should be excited that you can build new stuff. Like this is just a generically good set. I used my force of will because I'm excited about this card. That being said, it is a 4 out of 5 for me. Like,
yeah. Well, I'm glad that we're around the same too, because I
yeah,
thought you were at like a 5.
no, 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 no. Like
I think it's around a 4, and it's an uncommon. That's
it,
that's
it,
what's crazy about
it
it
was a
too.
toss up between the Tithe Taker and this one, and I just when I saw this one, I was much more excited for the possibilities than the
Mm,
other one. The other one is good value. This is I think we could figure out how to make Elf Ball work, with
yeah, it'd
this.
be crazy.
Yeah. Uh
It's there's only one reason
yeah.
this is here.
It is a bear that has bangs, purple hair, and a little bow, and it looks like Winnie the Pooh. So its name is Herska Sweettooth. It's 2 generic green. Whenever Herska Sweettooth attacks, create a food token. When you gain life, you may pay hybrid mana green or white. When you do, target creature gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the amount of life you gained. Um, Pretty good. Food is pretty good right now in CDH. Rosy Cotton is a good combo piece that creates just crazy stuff. I think it's Infinite Foods, or maybe it's Frodo, or the Lord of the Rings set really went hard on food, and you can easily make infinite food in green white. That's kind of what green white can do right now. Um, is this a CDH commander? No.
No, not at
Uh,
all. I wouldn't call it a C. I don't even know if it's a CEDH card. I just feel like it's a Winnie the Pooh looking bear.
yeah, I mean, it's weird because like whenever you gain life in CDH, most of the life that you're going to be gaining is with lifelink. But at that point, you don't want to buff it more because you've already done the damage. Yeah. Like I guess it's kind of cool. So like again, devoted druid. Let's say I hit with Timna and I gain 2 life, and then I can make devoted druid a 2/4, so I can
Just constantly going
potentially
up.
go infinite green after that. I mean, especially if I'm running that 1 drop angel that deals like what, six
Oh,
damage.
Sarah's Ascendant.
Sarah's Ascendant,
I
like,
don't think it's an angel though.
well, like it's not, but it has flying and
Yeah, I know what you
lifelink,
mean.
yeah, and it looks like an angel on the art.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
But Sarah's Ascendant, swing with Sarah's Ascendant. When I swing, pay green by tapping Devoted Druid, make Devoted Druid 6/8, get 7 green.
That's silly town.
And then I also want to make foods in my deck too. So like I could I could see it having a place in my current deck. I do think it's a trap guard there. I do think that there are food CDH decks out there. I've not played against any other than Balin, and I was playing Balin, and I took it apart again. So like uh I think it's cute. I think it's a pretty cool commander for casual. I could see it going into CDH decks, but I gotta give it a 2.
I'm on a 1, but I won't fight you on a 2. It's a bear with some honey paws.
I did look at my list and think about putting it in because I have devoted squirrel combo, and then on top of it, buffing squirrel. Like I could see it going in Tyam because Tyam, once you get three counters, when you can put three -1/-1 counters on Devoted Druid, Tyam can eat it, and then you keep going.
Mm, that makes sense.
So like
I'm with it.
it has possibilities. I think Tyam will want it. I think I might want it. I think it's better in Tyam, but because I can see it in Tyam with Devoted Druid, I will probably give it a 2.
I'll give it a 2. That's fine.
And then we are done. I'm going to go ahead and scroll. So you are retroactively throwing your Force of Will on Raise the Past.
Yeah, I think that would have been it. I'm gonna say that yours would outwin it just because I didn't throw it on it, but that's probably the best card I've
Yeah.
seen in the set.
And I will say I'm using the Force of Will just because I don't want to leave it on the table.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it is it says something that both of us are kind of just like, I guess I'll use the Force of Will. You know?
To be realistic, I'm cool not even using it since I waited so long and
Yeah.
you used yours. Um, I thought that I might use it on one of the animated art looking creatures,
Oh yeah.
but I mean,
Yeah, we
even them
shouldn't
were
be
just
using a Force of Will on art.
well, no, well, not just art,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like some of
Yeah,
them
yeah.
were pretty decent
Yeah.
with the human rogue one,
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
that you liked.
No, yeah, that one I was like, "Are you sure you don't use it?"
But I mean, even then, this card here is better in what I want to do
Yeah,
than the
yeah,
other. And the fact that this can be a win con with the little hair guy is kind of funny too.
yeah. I mean, let's say you only have enough money to buy a booster box of this or the next set. Buy a booster box of the next set. Like I think
Yeah,
you could completely skip this set over as a CDH commander and just buy 2 boxes of the next set.
I'll I'll touch on some of the art treatment. I'll say that the mana foils are really cool looking. Did I
Only in collectors
Yeah,
packs though.
did I
Yeah.
get anything that's worth anything? I mean, I got a Phyrexian Arena, which
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, I will say, like, if you're somebody that likes to just pull for fun, like, for those, like, highs of, like, "Oh my god, I got this card." The Fracture foils and the collector's set, pretty cool, and then the, mana foils are
they look good.
pretty cool. Like, I saw Niv Mizzet with the mana foil full art, and I was like, that is so cool." They're raised though, right?
Yeah, they're raised for.
So, like, couldn't they shuffle different? Is that gonna be a problem?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't feel them through the sleeve.
I feel like the sleeve would be thicker, so, like, when you cut, you'd be more likely to, like, cut on one of those.
I mean, maybe. I mean, the
Yeah.
card I'd have would be Phyrexian Arena, which is
Yeah, I am curious if it becomes a problem where tournaments are like, none of these in your deck.
I could see that.
And, this is speculation at this point. I don't know. To me, it looks like they are a little because the raise foils on Bloomborough were like really just gilding, where it didn't make the card thicker.
Yeah.
I feel like those make the card thicker, and I might be wrong. Like maybe they're not raised; it's just there's no foiling there, so it's actually
Mm,
like the same
it
thickness.
feels different. Um, as far as the whole force of will thing, I think that I'll just not use it.
Yeah.
I do think if we were going back through it, knowing everything I knew now, I would say it would be raise the past, but I passed it. So
Yeah. I mean, I think that says something about the set. I am personally, I had a bunch of fun with the pre-release, but the
oh
pre-release
please,
by the time you're listening to this episode is past. So if you're gonna do like sealed with your friends or draft, like, and you're trying to look for a set, fun,
no,
really
this is pretty
fun.
fun.
Yeah. If you are like, hey, I've budgeted, I can only buy a box of this or the next set, go buy the box of the next set. I'm personally probably just gonna dip into 3 or 4 singles and call it a day. Um, if you are going to do the same thing, the TCG player link is just so convenient in the description of the podcast and or YouTube
In
video
the description
in
below.
the description below. And while you're there, please like, comment, and subscribe. You've listened to the whole episode, so you really should tell YouTube that it's good.
And let us know if you got that mermaid, merfolk, if it would be tapped.
Yeah, and let it who
Great.
in our only lands 18 plus podcast, we're going to discuss how hot the waifus are. We're not going to do that. Now if we had our
Not that
page
we don't have one,
if we
which we
had
don't.
if we had our Patreon up and we had enough subscribers there and we were a big enough podcast
Jeez.
and they decided to ask us to do a would smash or not podcast on that
Gosh.
premium Patreon, I would.
I'm
I'm
not
just
I'm
putting
not
it out
I'm
there.
not doing that.
I mean, they do it with Pokemon. Like that's not as bad.
No, that doesn't make it better.
Well, Markiplier did it with Pokemon on YouTube. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, well, on that note, I think it's time to end the
Yeah,
podcast.
the set is mediocre for CEDH. However,
Still fun.
this is fun set.
Mediocre, but still fun. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening.
See you
See
next
you
time.
next time. Bye.